Arena. The boys got a few days off now before taking on UCSD at Lion Tree Arena on Friday night. In the NFL, Bears take down the Vikings last night. Final score 12-10. Josh Dobbs, 4 interceptions in the loss, and that brings Week 12 to a close. Week 13 gets going Thursday night. Seahawks in Dallas taking on the Cowboys, a game you're going to hear right here on San Diego Sports 760. And in the NBA, Lakers had a rough night last night, losing to the Sixers 138-94. 44 points. That loss is the biggest loss LeBron James has ever taken in his 21-season career. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about the perfect holiday gift? Just $25 and under, like matching family PJs, fragrance sets, toys, and more. Find the latest trends and new arrivals and a great price at Macy's Backstage store near you.
Happy Tuesday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you on this glorious Tuesday morning. So here we are. It is week 12, or I should say the conclusion of week 12 in the NFL last night. And we're creeping closer and closer to the finish, and I am uncomfortable with that.
Well, games like that are also uncomfortable.
That was a fun watch, wasn't it, gang? Bears over Vikings, 12-10 victory. A defensive slugfest.
Whoa,
How about it?
Volume up
Yeah,
here. Sorry
yeah.
about that.
So I tell you when that game's not a fun watch, which it wasn't a fun watch. We could start there. What was 6 turnovers combined between the teams? Bad quarterback play. Just ugh.
But it wasn't even like a fun sloppy game. It was just sloppy.
You know what makes it less fun? Watching it with a diehard Bears fan, because Brent Sperry and I were in here watching that game, and I was trying to watch Aztecs basketball on my phone because it was on your view last night. So the only way I could watch it was on my phone. And Brent has the Bears game on TV, and he is cussing, he is swearing, he's talking about how Matt Eberflus is Satan. Like, it got dark in here, guys. And the entire time I'm like, Brent, the Bears are probably going to win this game. Like, they're playing fine. They're playing better. They've turned over the Vikings 4 times, and he's just losing his mind. It was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer at the end of a game, especially when it's the standalone, like a Monday night game or a Thursday game, when it's the conclusion and you go, wow, well, I guess that one team just sucked a little less than the other team.
Yeah, that is unfortunately
Perfect way to put it.
That is unfortunately the way this went. And trust me, I've been a part of games like that where you're one of those teams that suck, and you're like, geez. You know who
I just want this to end?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, dude, the players on the field, I can promise you, especially on Chicago, less so on the Minnesota Vikings, but especially on Chicago, their 2 wishes are the sooner this is over, the better. And secondarily, don't get hurt, don't get hurt, don't get hurt, don't get hurt, because it's going to ruin your whole offseason. Like, you do not want to spend your offseason rehabbing an injury and potentially being released from the roster because they're going to clear out the whole staff. Which, by the way, the year specifically where we were having a bad season like that, I injured my knee, complete tear of the MCL.
Sweet.
Worst case scenario, and I did it in early December.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so...
Oh, my God. What do you go through mentally when that happens?
Oh, it's miserable.
Like, you're kind of, if you were using Survivor terms, like, you're kind of on the bottom of one of the tribes, and then you do something to put yourself even further on the bottom, which in your case was getting injured. Like, what does that go through mentally when you get home at night being like, I don't know if I'm gonna have a job next year?
Well, I was a starting offensive lineman at the time, and I wasn't worried about job security in the league. I was more just worried about the fact that when you're having a bad season as a team, the offseason feels like respite, because you're like, oh, it is such an emotional drain showing up to work every day and not being good, right? As a team. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter how you're playing individually. If you don't have good quarterback play, if you don't have a defense that can stop people, like, you're going to lose a lot of football games. That's exactly what we had that year. And so as a result, you look forward to the offseason, and then all of a sudden you got to deal with rehabbing a major injury. So it's like no rest for the weary kind of feeling. It's
Puts
like
a damper on the Cabo trip.
Oh, dude. Yeah, there was no trip. In fact, Annie, because it was my right knee, was driving me to work every day for rehab for about 2 months. She was pulling her hair out. She's like, I don't get, like, isn't there a way they could give you like a knee brace where like your toes can still work the gas pedal? I'm like, I don't want to be the guy who re-tears his MCL trying to like hit the brakes real quick because a kid chases his ball in the road. Like, so
my gosh.
Yeah.
Got dark quick.
Oh yeah.
And what people forget about the Bears is the Bears have the first or one of the first picks overall, thanks to the Carolina Panthers. And they'll also, as of right now, they have the 4th pick overall because of the Bears. So when they're going into this offseason, if you're thinking like you are on the bottom of this Bears roster, maybe the last 2 or 3 guys on it, you're like, well, I'm getting replaced next year because they're going to go after someone early in the draft.
Well, I mean, if you're specifically talking about Justin Fields, I look at him as potentially being one of these candidates, like we were talking about Kyler Murray, who's probably played well enough that there's a team out there who's going to be QB needy enough that he'll find a landing spot in trade potentially. The Bears roster doesn't have it's not a situation where they don't have any talent. It's just that the major things that they need to get right, they're not getting right. Like that's pretty good defense. But offensively,
that's back-to-back weeks with 4 turnovers for that defense.
They've been so out of sync offensively for so long. It's not working with Justin Fields. I know he just got back from injury, but I think it's time. And I'm almost positive the new coaching staff who's going to come in, whoever it is going to be like, yeah, like I don't want to gamble that all of the bad thing that's happened to Justin Fields over the beginning of his career is going to leach over into my tenure trying to coach him.
Right.
So, and it's kind of the situation that Jonathan Gannon is in Arizona because it's exactly what happened. He becomes head coach and they're like, yeah, but we're not cutting Kyler Murray or trading him away if that's what you want to do. We'll trade away Joshua Dobbs, but we're sticking with Kyler. And so if I'm the next head coach, I'm saying, hey, first things first, if you guys are cool with us moving on from him and getting a new QB in the draft, then I'm cool coming in as the next head coach.
Yeah. And I mean, is there anything about Justin Fields that you look at though and go, this is a long-term quarterback somewhere? It just doesn't look like it to me. It's got this Zach Wilson vibe on it where you have moments of greatness and then for the most part, it's just lackluster.
But you have moments of greatness, which I've never seen with Zach Wilson personally.
Yeah.
And like Justin Fields does when he's running the ball and not fumbling it is special to see. And he like that throw last night he made for the Bears to eventually win the game. Like that was an on-time money throw in a high pressure situation with there's less than a minute on the clock. So it's like you do see something with Justin Fields where I could imagine him in a better offense, a better situation would be a lot better. With a guy like Zach Wilson, I've never once thought that.
I look around that Bears offense though, and I think like it's not that he doesn't have any help.
DJ Moore is a super talented receiver,
and he's good with every quarterback he's worked with. Cole Kmet as a tight end, he's a talented receiving tight end. Darnell Mooney, Khalil Herbert out of the backfield. Like there's options with this Bears offense. The problem is the quarterback. And so, yeah, to your point, Travis, like if it's going to work, he needs to find the perfect fit. He needs to find a coordinator who can really hide his limitations because there are some and find a way to highlight what he does best, which there are things he does really well. He's a freak athlete. There's no doubt about it. If like, for example, if he was working with Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator with the Baltimore Ravens, you sort of feel like it would look very different.
How about if he was plugged into Jalen Hurts' spot with the Eagles?
Yeah.
It would feel very different.
Yeah. Yeah, it would. Yeah, there's more stable organizations. Now, by the way, the 2 we named aren't looking for quarterbacks. No.
So nor will they be anytime soon.
So it's more going to be a situation where it's like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like if they miss the playoffs with Baker Mayfield, they're going to be like, you know who we need to roll the dice with? With that dude from Chicago, get him in here, and then, I don't think it's going to go much better.
So the Bears conversation does kind of lead you to the draft conversation. And when you look at who's coming out in college football, it's a great quarterback class. We've known that. I do wonder, and I haven't been reading Daniel Jeremiah or Bucky Brooks or any of the draft analysts, but is there any chance with USC's disappointing season that Caleb Williams maybe isn't the lock for the number 1 overall?
It's possible, but I always say this about anybody who is judging a quarterback early in the draft process. Don't bother because all of these guys, their draft stock is going to continue to rise. Like even CJ Stroud, who at one point, because of that cognitive abilities test, was getting absolutely dogged this past offseason about how, hey, he's not a elite processor. It's like, what?
Mhm.
You're telling me that because of a paper test? What about what we saw at Ohio State? I mean, he played at a championship level at Ohio State. You're telling me that doesn't translate because he failed a written test?
Did that news story cost him money?
Oh, absolutely
Yeah.
did. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Which is horrible.
Well, but the thing is, it's like, look, it's a part of the evaluation process. I'm not going to say it's the only thing that mattered to the Carolina Panthers, but it absolutely factored in when they were weighing the cost benefits of drafting CJ Stroud first overall, because you got to remember, if it works out, well, it's like, okay, well, good. They looked at that and they accurately depicted what he'd look like at the next level. But if you have that information and you take him first overall and it goes really sideways, well, then there's going to be somebody in the front office who didn't want CJ Stroud's going to be like, see, told you. Remember the cognitive exam? So there's that. But I look, when you're looking at a Caleb Williams coming out of USC, that his stock is going to skyrocket as we are replaying. Once the season ends, we're going to be replaying all of his highlights from his career at USC. And we're going to stop talking about this season. We're going to talk about his career numbers, which includes his Heisman year last year and the work he did before he transferred to USC. And all of a sudden, it's going to look a lot better.
And everything he's done could just become kind of myth. Like, who knows if he'll even throw at a pro day? Who knows if he'll even do anything at the combine? Like, he doesn't necessarily have to if he's already being considered the number one overall pick. But you look around the rest of college football, and you're like, well, there's some really attractive quarterback pieces. May, Penix. Like, there's a lot of guys in this draft coming up where you're like, I could see building a franchise around that.
I didn't realize you're going to add pieces to that sentence. Really attractive quarterbacks.
Big Rich, Peeny, and Fletch.
Look at Penix Jr. He's another one.
Professional.
And, what else? I mean, like, even DJ Uiagalelei at Oregon State, what he's done after transfer.
DJU.
Yeah. I mean, that guy can play some football now. It's going to be very interesting to see how NFL teams this upcoming season handle the situation that they're faced with from an offensive and especially a quarterback standpoint, because like you said, Fletch, when you have this many talented guys coming out of the draft, man, it gets difficult to say, well, right, they're all those guys. Maybe we should trade up and get one of them, or maybe we should just take that capital and trade it to Chicago and get Justin Fields, who at this level hasn't really operated as a franchise quarterback yet.
And then you get into a situation like the Carolina Panthers, where they did trade everything to the Chicago Bears to get Bryce Young at number one overall. And as of right now, like, Bryce Young got his head coach fired. So you could consider this a failure. DJ Moore, by the way, is the leading wide receiver on the Chicago Bears. He was part of that trade package, not to mention multiple picks coming up in this year's draft and next year's draft. So the draft process is so damn tricky in the NFL. And if you're the GM that misses, like, if this quarterback class is stud and you get 3 or 4 starters out of it and you get the one that isn't a starter, like, your job's on the line then.
Yeah. No, I'm a dicey road in this as we move forward here.
Yeah.
Well, in the NFL, we've been talking about it, but the Bears beat the Vikings 12-10. No touchdowns needed for the Bears. Josh Dobbs threw for 4 picks last night. Now there's a question on if he'll remain the starter out in Minnesota. In Las Vegas, the Raiders, they've cut all-pro cornerback Marcus Peters following their loss against the Chiefs, where they let up 31 points. The team announced this on Twitter.
Come to the Niners.
How many players do you think the Niners need?
One more. Marcus Peters.
All of them. In the NBA, Fletch, you talked about it in your update. Record night for the Lakers as they got trounced by the 76ers. 138-94. The 44-point loss is the largest in LeBron James' 21-year career. It's tied for the 5th largest in Lakers history. And Sports Illustrated under fire, guys.
What they do?
They're publishing articles using fake artificial intelligence.
Oh, snap.
And they're using real human names as if humans actually wrote them. They were called out about writing these articles as if these people were at the game watching games, writing them. They were called out. They deleted every artificial intelligence article they had.
Dude, What a crazy world we live in. And by the way, all of them, they like left little breadcrumbs for us to find. Like every time the author was like, Alfred Ingold, where his initials were AI, or was like Alexander Ingrid Hoffer, and
you
you're
remember
just
a
like,
few years back, like Sports Illustrated laid off a bunch of their writers, and those writers all took to social media and were just like, this is the dumbest thing they've ever done. Like, this was still a profitable business model. Now all those writers can go back and be like, this is why.
Yeah, they're having robots do it.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's
really good.
Full circle.
Oh, I hope they get sued like crazy.
Well, what's weird is
what are they gonna get sued for?
It's going to infiltrate coaching soon. We were just talking about decision making, stuff like that. This is infiltrating all parts of our lives. You're going to see certain coaches like these analytics gurus, right? How we say, oh, well, he's got a guy in the front office who helps him make those fourth down decisions. Well, pretty soon it's going to be AI. It's just going to be an artificial intelligence that gets plugged into an iPad upstairs, and somebody in your headset is going to say, yeah, well, Alfred Ingold III says to go for it.
Major League Baseball should require that like a Robbie the robot is in the dugout, and that's who they have to go talk to.
Yeah.
Okay, probably not right now, but a fun segment idea is, what do we want AI to take over?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like, because there's a lot of things we don't like, our jobs.
Yeah, because it's close.
Right.
Yeah.
But what would we like? Like, what do we no longer need? Like city officials?
You want artificial intelligence to take over a city official's job?
I bet you the Chargers would still be here if AI was making decisions.
All of a sudden, like there's
like 7 stadiums built.
Yeah. All these renderings, bam.
I mean, holy God. Yeah, there's a lot of jobs you don't want AI to have. I mean, there are definitely certain jobs you definitely do want them to have. Like, yeah, baseball umpire, for example.
Yeah, I feel like that's fine.
Like we could get rid of baseball umpires forever and nobody will miss them at all.
And especially that AI makes the call instantaneously.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's correct.
We don't need any deliberation. But let's deliberate over our morning monologue here. We'll let Fletch get us started this morning. Fletch, what's on your mind?
It's going to be a quick one, boys, but here's a little list for you. Josh Dobbs, Aiden O'Connell, any quarterback for the Jets not named Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields, Desmond Ridder, Jake Browning, Mac Jones, Will Levis, Sam Howell. That is my list of teams that should no longer be allowed on primetime television for the rest of their season until they figure out their quarterback situation. Like, primetime should be special. It should be a privilege. Teams should get to play on primetime when they have, I don't know, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. I don't need to see any more 4 turnover games from one quarterback. So, Josh Dobbs, you're really fun sometimes at 10 a.m. in the morning when you're buried on red zone and you could see the highlights. I do not need to see how bad you actually are on primetime being a standalone game. That's all I got.
The only place I'll push back, and I do agree with you, some of these primetime games are absolute hot garbage. Last night was a good example. But the schedule makers and the amount of money that these fans are spending to get to Monday night destinations sometimes, or, switching up logistics. I mean, it's just such a nightmare to try to find a world away where you could flip the schedule on a week-to-week basis and make it so your wish comes true. That it just never will.
Yes,
so
the NFL.
get used to it.
Right.
The NFL can do whatever they want.
Well, I don't.
Here's what I'll say: start making the schedule with teams who deserve to be in primetime, and then if things change, things change. So if Patrick Mahomes tears his ACL in week 2, God forbid, and he has a week 8 matchup scheduled with the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, okay, well, we're going to switch that up.
Well, you'll complain about that too eventually.
Yeah, I mean,
because you'll eventually get tired of seeing the same faces and the same names.
That is true. That is very true. And I mean, they do that. That's what the whole flex schedule is for.
Has a single game been flexed this year?
I don't think yet.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't think they flexed yet.
Start flexing.
Well, they have to fill their quota of getting everybody in the prime time schedule.
Dumb rule. Be better.
Well,
be better.
I mean, I don't think think this business works the way you think this business works.
They're trying to make as much money as possible for each team.
No, I get it. And credit to, there's profit sharing with TV, so you could make it work. And I get that the Carolina Panthers deserve to have one primetime game, but do they really?
Chiefs are on every Monday.
Not this season. My goodness. They have been awful and average at best. All right, my contention this morning, my Monday morning, or I should say Tuesday morning monologue, is about college football instead of pro football. And I've been thinking about this a lot over the weekend with the college football regular season coming to an end. I was thinking about the transfer portal, and I was thinking about how college coaches now build teams, how athletic administrations at the college level have to put together rosters and have to put together collectives and funds that are sort of almost like a para athletic department affiliated conglomerate that then funnels money into the athletes, but not the football or athletic department.
I'm not even sure I can wrap my head around
It's
that.
really difficult and very shady from the financial side to understand what's happening with college sports. And then you look at the roster building from a coaching standpoint. So if you don't use the transfer portal, you get left behind. Look at Clemson. Dabo Swinney, one of the biggest detractors of the transfer portal, now has a team that just completely got left behind, just left in a lurch. They didn't transfer very much. And so as a result, they don't have as much talent as a lot of teams around the ACC and around the SEC and around the Big Ten. And so they've really knocked themselves down from a national competitive standpoint.
And people dipped out of Clemson.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't DJ Uiagalelei, wasn't he their quarterback at one point? He was on the bench.
Yeah, but they didn't want him. So,
but he could have ended up starting this year for me. It would have been a better option.
So you look at some of the things that are happening with certain programs and you say, okay, well, yeah, that's the bad side of it. The good side of it is you look at Arizona, who a year ago had a completely different roster. They bring in 70 new transfers and they have a double-digit win season this season. So it works for some teams. It doesn't work for others. I guess the best comp I can give you at the NFL level is look what the Rams did by building a roster, by trading away draft capital. You could make the argument, well, it was worth it. They won a Super Bowl. And so in the end, it's justified. But at what cost? I mean, the future is going to get pretty bleak for the Rams. This season is a good example of that. And what's going to be the cost and the tax on these college athletes and these athletic departments here with the new transfer portal rules? I think it could get really, really wacky at the college football level. It's going to get worse before it gets better.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, mine's a little bit of a left turn here. However, and it's also kind of a two-parter. All of the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift drama news that have been just jammed down our throat for the past, it's been a month now, month and a half, however long it's been. It feels like it's been forever because there's so much of it. It's nonstop. Now there's news that Taylor Swift has turned down or did turn down an offer to perform at King Charles III's coronation. So she's turned down the Super Bowl. She turns down a king's coronation. I mean, how big is Taylor Swift? And I was thinking, we're going to be stuck with Taylor Swift for a long time because there's no other artist that's anywhere close to the level Taylor Swift is. I mean, she's basically the modern day Beatles, which is very difficult for me to say, but I mean, that's how huge she is. It's not going away. We're going to be stuck with this still jammed down our throats, maybe for the rest of our lives. Then I thought, wow, Travis Kelce, if her and Travis do break up, which, look, I love. I'm rooting for him. But if and possibly when they do break up, she will have a song about Travis. And then everywhere across the globe, it's going to be #HateTravis. That's me. I will be trending hate.
Yeah.
So,
and also, like, Travis Kelce scores a lot of TDs. So,
God.
both of the ways you're known by.
By the way, 2 months and 8 days since we posted that first TikTok. That was the day Jason Kelce went on Philly radio and said it's all 100% true.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
How about that, guys? That was a special day for this show. We went viral on TikTok.
#trailer.
Wow. #trailer.
Yeah.
That was the least effort I've ever put into a TikTok ever.
Well, you know what? Continue doing that. Your effort.
You know, I work my
your
ass
terrible
off.
effort is appreciated.
The deep frying the turkey has 500 views. I spent an hour and a half editing that thing.
Well, you know what? We got booted off of TikTok Live that day.
That wasn't our fault.
It wasn't our fault. There were other voices around that got us in trouble. And then I think that stymied its performance.
They say hate speech. We agree. Anyways, moving along. Superstar sensitivity. Are we on board with Westbrook? That's next. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
What is superstar sensitivity? We'll explain coming up next.
This update is presented by Macy's Backstage. We'll start with Aztecs Hoops, who take down Point Loma last night, 71-51 at Viejas Arena. The boys have a few days off here before taking on UCSD at Lion Tree Arena on Friday night. In the NFL, Bears beat the Vikings last night. Final score 12-10. Josh Dobbs, 4 picks in the loss. That brings Week 12 to a close. Week 13 gets going Thursday night with the Seahawks in Dallas taking on the Cowboys, a game you're going to hear right here on San Diego Sports 760. And in the NBA, Lakers had a rough night last night, losing to the Sixers 138-94, 44 points. That's the biggest loss LeBron James has ever taken in his 21 seasons in the NBA. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about the perfect holiday gifts? Just $25 and under, like matching family PJs, fragrance sets, toys, and more. Find the latest trends, new arrivals, and great prices at a Macy's Backstage store near you.
Big Rich, GD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. We got a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego Christmas celebration, where the wonders of the sea meet the joy of Christmas at SeaWorld San Diego. Christmas celebration, from underwater discoveries to San Diego's largest Christmas tree, the Sky Tower Tree of Lights. Experience thrilling rides to Mrs. Claus Christmas Parade, real reindeer and photos with Santa. Taste heartwarming traditions and sing along to a stocking full of soul featuring America's Got Talent finalist Brian Sheatham. Oh, there's a lot going on over there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, my wife and kids, they went and they saw him. They saw him perform. Yeah.
Wow,
Really
how was that?
It was fun. It was fun. He did a good job.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Now, when they say real reindeer,
like an actual reindeer.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reindeer are real.
Okay.
no, I know that.
Yeah.
Are you
But
sure
do any
you
of
know
them
that?
have glowing noses?
I don't know. Several may fly.
You did look for a second like you didn't realize that reindeer.
No, I know
were,
reindeer
Are
are
you
real.
sure
Yeah,
you
wait,
do that?
But I'm wondering if they have the real Santa reindeer here. Like, does SeaWorld have that kind of clout?
You're saying from the North Pole?
From the North Pole.
100%.
Yeah, dude, of
Yeah,
course.
come
It's
on.
SeaWorld San Diego.
They're going to lie to us? It's a
where,
Christmas celebration.
It's where magic happens. Actually, I'm not sure if that's their slug line,
I
but I made it up
either.
for them.
Where the wonders of the sea meet the joy of Christmas.
Thank you. That's exactly what I meant. Where the wonders of the sea meets the joy of Christmas, Ben. We know this every year at SeaWorld San Diego.
Are you outside of your mind?
All right. Okay. Listen, I want to get to a little bit of sensitive behavior on the basketball court. So while everybody was watching an absolute dog meat game on Monday Night Football, 12-10 victory for the Bears against the Minnesota Vikings. We also had the Clippers taking on a shorthanded Denver Nuggets team. They lose, and a fan decides to chirp at Russell Westbrook. So Russell, with the remaining 30 seconds of this 113-102 loss, decides to stand at midcourt and shout at a fan.
Good.
The fan shouts back. A referee gets between the two of them to make sure there's no fracas breaking out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is consistent behavior with Russell Westbrook. This happened many times when he was with the Lakers organization. If everybody remembers from a year ago when fans were chanting, Westbrook, because he couldn't make a shot.
Right.
Yeah. So It's happening now with the Clippers, not shocking. And he's also still very Russell Westbrook.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, look, you superstar sensitivity. I mean, it's in the word. You're a superstar. You have to be elevated above this, and you have to know that this is going to come with the territory. That doesn't give you free reign to be a jerk back. Because look, I mean, hecklers a little bit off-putting. I get it. A little bit off color. Are they necessary, or should they be acting that way? Probably not. However, that's what's going to happen. And it comes with the territory. You got to know that going in. Rise above it, man. This is weird.
Yeah.
How about this? Be better. Same theory as Monday Night Football or primetime games in the NFL. If you want to be there, be better.
Which I was trying to find because, there was a little skirmish there after the Eagles game. Was it Sunday night?
It wasn't.
It wasn't nighttime. It was the afternoon.
Yeah, the afternoon game.
So when was it Eagles player?
Yeah,
got in a fight with a fan after the game.
Yeah, and then now
that's right. Yeah,
now he's trying to say that they were threatening my family.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
but look, words hurt. We know words hurt.
Now I will say
that was assault. What the Eagles player did and what the fan did was just talk to him.
The NBA is partly to blame for this. Like, it's become normal for us watching NBA games because it's always been this way, at least since Jerry Buss made it this way. But fans are so close. Yeah. Like, so unbelievably close to some world-class athletes who sometimes fly out of bounds and land in the first row. And it's a little odd to me that that's even okay to happen. Like, in football, there's a big separation. So even if people are yelling at you, and every once in a while we see an NFL player on the sideline turn around and shout something back, but even if people are yelling at you, there's separation. I think the issue the NBA has is fans feel like when they're sitting courtside is that they are part of the game. And unfortunately, you can literally hear them like I'm talking to you guys right now because they're that close.
Well, I will say this, from the sideline of a professional football game or a college football game when I was still playing, or even now, it doesn't matter. You saw it in that Eagles fan interaction with a Buffalo player. You can hear everything people are saying when you're on the sideline if they're loud enough. I mean, it's usually louder in a 60 or 70,000 seat stadium versus an arena, but there are quiet enough moments where if somebody wants to say something awful about you or your wife or your girlfriend or your fiance or your sister or your aunt or your grandma, like, you can hear all that stuff and the fans know it. And they're trying to get a reaction. Mm-hmm. The only way they win is if you give it to them. So you either ignore it or you engage. Those are your two options. Russell Westbrook has made himself a target. He doesn't realize how silly and frankly stupid this is by engaging with these fans because he's giving them, it's like feeding the pigeons. Yeah. It's not like you're going to be like, well, just one. No, you're going to have a flock of pigeons in front of your park bench pretty soon.
Right. And then, Fletch, to your point, they're so close, they're almost part of the game. They are part of the game at that point. You're out there on the court. Being able to heckle and talk to the players makes you a part of the game, which is similar to the PGA. So in golf, I mean, you can talk right to them. You could heckle if you want. And to your point, Rich, yeah, I mean, that's up to the athlete whether or not they would like to engage in that, or they clear the mechanism and they just don't even hear it. Or, it's in one ear, out the other.
And I have at PGA events. I've told Brooks Koepka how much I love him.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Since we're on NBA.
How did he do?
He was great.
He shanked the next shot. He's like, who is this guy that keeps talking to me?
No, he was perfect, actually. Perfect physique, perfect form, perfect everything.
See, that's when it gets uncomfortable.
Wow. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Or you know what? Honestly, we're glad that you can admit it.
Yeah.
It's nice.
You can have a bro crush. It's cool.
Do you you don't
it's-
wear sweatpants when you go, do you?
Oh God, no.
Uh,
That is a risk I am not willing to take.
This guy's wearing compression shorts. Are you kidding me?
Since we're on NBA, have you guys looked into how bad last night was for the Lakers? Like, it wasn't just 44 points is the worst loss of LeBron James's career. That is the worst loss in Lakers history against the 76ers. They've played 290 times. That is the 76ers beating the Lakers for the 7th straight time, which is just embarrassing. And in the middle of all that, LeBron James set a new record. He has now played more minutes than anybody else in the history of the NBA. But it's like, on a night like that, do you even want to talk about it?
Well, what's crazy is LeBron James, the Lakers organization before the start of the season, they said, we're going to do what's right for LeBron. He's going to play limited minutes. We're going to make sure he gets his rest. I mean, it has gone so completely opposite of the way they predicted the beginning of the season. I mean, it almost feels like it's going to have, like, he's going to have an injury at some point. He's going to get worn out at some point. I'm not hoping for it. I love watching him play. First ever 39,000 point basketball player in pro basketball. I mean, this guy's incredible what he's able to do nearing 40. But one thing I do know as you get older, because trust me, at 37, I feel a lot different than I did at 27. The body breaks down a little bit quicker, a little bit harder to recover from those hard nights on the court.
You guys have been to a concert where it's like some old man up there on stage still trying to play guitar and still trying to sing, and it's like, oh, maybe you should just stop. Like, when you watch LeBron, this is the headline from last night on ESPN. LeBron James takes the NBA all-time minutes lead in career worst loss.
That's rough. I mean, look, man, it's a human body. It gets older. I mean, parts start to break down. Your car parts start to break down when they get worn too much. That's what happens, even if you're an athlete.
But when you watch him, it's not like that aging superstar at all.
Correct?
No. Like, if you watch any of these Lakers games, he's incredible. Now, the Lakers get beat by 40 by the 76ers. We're talking about 44 by about Russell Westbrook with the Clippers. Not only did they get beat, but they got beat by a team without Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, or Aaron Gordon on the court. So which game was more embarrassing for LA last night? I'll let the listeners decide.
The Lakers, and it's not even close.
I don't know, man. I mean, you had none of the star power on the court for the Nuggets. And also you have 4 superstars on the Clippers, and they still can't get anything done. It is it's been a rough start for the Clippers. They got their first win with James Harden like a month after he joined the team. All right, let's get ready to do this. Alex Smith went after the GOAT. That's next on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. But I want to talk to everybody about how my holiday has gone so far. So we had a bunch of people over for Thanksgiving, right? Everybody came to the house and we made dinner and we had a little feast. The one thing that I heard more than anything was like how much weight I lost. So it's the first time a lot of my family members have seen me recently. And since joining forces with SD Fat Loss, everybody's been like, whoa, how far are you down? I'm like, well, lost about 30 pounds since the last time you saw me. How did you do it? Well, SDFatLoss.com with Wayne and Chloe. And you could be in this situation too. Look, we got the Christmas holiday, Hanukkah holiday coming up. Everybody's going to have family visiting, especially San Diego, right? This is a warm weather climate. People want to be a part of the action down here. So if you got plans to see some family, why wait to the new year to get started on your new diet?
Right. The Christmas party coming up. You know what I mean? Should walk in a little lighter.
All of a sudden, that sweater from last year, the one that your belly was showing when you lift your arms,
the one where the buttons were pulled real tight. I may own that one.
Yeah. Well, you put that sweater on this year, completely different story. All of a sudden, the clothes are fitting a little bit better, and that's this time of year. The weather's starting to get a little bit colder. You're starting to take some of the winter clothes out of the closet, and I remember how it used to feel. A lot of that clothes didn't fit, and I would put it right back in the closet.
Right.
Never made its way to the dresser drawers because I knew it couldn't fit into it. But this year, it's different. With SDFatLoss.com, I'm down 30 plus pounds. And it's been super easy. Look, no other diet really seemed to work, but with Wayne and Chloe, my weight loss team over at SD Fat Loss, the weight just sort of flew off. And it was because of their guidance with a specialized diet program curtailed to me, and also because of the app. They have an integrated app that I can use as a reference, but also to reach out to the weight loss team, and also just to make sure that I'm tracking my calories and doing the things that they asked me to do. There's no injections, no hormone treatment. There's nothing other than a little bit of discipline and a lot of help from Wayne and Chloe over at SD Fat Loss. So again, if you're like me and you want to get some compliments on your way around the holiday, instead of people going, "Hey, Rich looks good. He's fine."
Yeah, I mean, he sounds great.
Yeah, the radio show sounds good. It's just how you look that's the problem. But if you want to feel better about people coming in being like, "Wow, look at you. Your face, I finally can see it." Okay, call 858-665-3211. That's 858-665-3211 or head to sdfatloss.com. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Keep listening for your opportunity to win a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego. They have their Christmas celebration going on, so we're going to be giving out that family 4-pack at some point coming up on this show. And if you're not listening on the free iHeartRadio app, go ahead and download that right now. You can take us wherever you go. Start your morning in the shower with us. Take us out while you're brewing your coffee like me and TD just did.
Mhm.
You know, take us with you in the car. Take us with you to the office. We want to be with you always. So download the free iHeartRadio app.
Especially that shower part.
We have separation issues.
Yeah, we can see you, but you can't see us. I'm just kidding. We can't see anything yet.
Yeah. Right.
And if you like the show, share a link with a friend. Best way to support us. Okay, moving on. Alex Smith. You guys remember him, right?
Love that
I know
guy.
him.
Yeah.
I mean, the Niners took him instead of Aaron Rodgers.
Former Utes quarterback, drafted in the first round by the Niners and then traded to the Kansas City Chiefs and helped Andy Reid jumpstart his new look offense in Kansas City before replacing him with Patrick Mahomes. And we all saw the horrific leg injury that he suffered when he was with the Commanders. And that's pretty much how the story ended for old Alex Smith. Well, he was on ESPN recently. He's now since become an analyst.
Really good, by the way.
Yeah.
If you watch any of his clips on social media, he does a really good job of breaking down the game from the quarterback position. And I think he's actually better at this than he was at quarterback.
It's possible. Look, there are a lot of broadcasters who actually you could argue were better broadcasters than they were players or coaches. He might be one of those, although he was a really talented player too. Either way, he's usually spot on with his analysis. But he recently had some words for Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady recently came out and said that the NFL product is worse than it's ever been. And it's because of all these player safety rules, really limiting what the defense is able to do, and therefore really sort of watering down the product because quarterback play, it's not what it used to be. Well, Alex Smith had this to say about that.
By the way, on that panel is Teddy Brisky, who played in that, and Rex Ryan, who coached in that.
Well, so Teddy Bruschi was Tom Brady's teammate.
Right,
He was a linebacker. And yeah, Rex Ryan, arguably gave the best shot at unseating the Patriots during his tenure, his short tenure with the New York Jets.
Rex Ryan's facial expression while Alex Smith is going on that little rant are hysterical.
Oh, dude, yeah. He's sitting there like, oh, come on. He also coached at Buffalo. Yeah. Well, Tom
that's
Brady
right.
was,
That's right.
Yeah.
Alex Smith is way wrong here. He's way wrong.
What?
He's wrong. Way off.
Tell me.
Tom Brady's right. And look, okay, so Tom Brady as a Buccaneer played in a very uncompetitive division. I get it. I'm with you. I agree with that point. It's not uncompetitive once you get to the playoffs. And you're going to tell me that right now in the NFL are the best quarterbacks that have ever played? I disagree with that entirely. I do not think so. I do not think the level of, yes, you have some fantastic quarterbacks, the Patrick Mahomes out there, Jalen Hurts. I don't know. Names escape me.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Yeah, I agree. There are some top quarterbacks. However, if you start rewinding the clock a little bit during the Tom Brady days, there were some major quarterbacks, out there that made teams competitive across the board. I think Alex Smith is way off here. Tom Brady is correct. I think the NFL is watered down here. I think that the rule changes, and I understand why there are rule changes being put in place. I get it. However, it does change the game. I think he's wrong.
I I agree with both of them to a certain extent. I agree with Tom Brady that and what you just said about the product being watered down, about the rule changes having a negative effect, a net negative effect on the NFL. I think there are certain positives. I think, but overall, when we balance everything, I think it's overall had a negative effect on the product. Are players safer? I don't know. I mean, I guess probably. I mean, their brains are certainly safer because you're not seeing these leveling shots that receivers used to take over the middle. But does it take away some of the drama and does it make it less of an aggressive contact sport? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a catch-22, and I think the net negative outweighs the net positive in terms of the product alone, not player safety, talking about the product. But what Alex Smith said about this era of quarterbacking, I think we're actually seeing more talent come into the league at quarterback than we ever have.
And we just need to wait a little bit. Like, we had decades of Tom, Eli, Peyton, Big Ben, Phillip Rivers. That goes on for a while. Those guys were in their positions as starting quarterbacks for decades plus.
Yeah,
right.
So
20
right
years,
now,
yeah.
we're on the early stages of these awesome careers starting for Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. Like, wait till we get 15 years in with these guys. What is that going to look like?
I don't disagree with that. However, I also think we are in a period of time where we are not patient. We don't wait it out. So if CJ Stroud doesn't absolutely kill it here in the next 2 years, it's done. It's over with.
Yeah.
But there's enough guys right now that are going to be in their positions, barring horrific injuries like Alex Smith suffered, for the next 10 years.
Josh Dobbs, for instance.
He doesn't need to be here.
You don't want to give him time and see what happens?
I don't.
He's a look. That might not be the example I love because he's a backup quarterback and it's a fun story. It's kind of like using Geno Smith as the shining example of this era of quarterback. It's like, yes, don't get me wrong. Last year was really special for Geno Smith, and the Seattle Seahawks may be a playoff team this year as well. But I mean, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Tua. There are examples of names who I think for a decade plus. Brock Purdy. Listen, I'll put him on the list. You know how I feel about Brock Purdy. I think these are guys who are going to help usher in a new era of quarterback, and I think it may be better than the era we just left. We'll find out.
Especially if Justin Herbert gets away from the Chargers.
Tom Brady was pretty good, though.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty good.
Yeah. Or how about a Trey Lance?
Yeah.
You didn't give him much time.
He wasn't good enough.
Well, he wasn't durable enough.
Yeah.
Every time he went in there, he got hurt, unfortunately. All right, really quick. We got the football season and the NBA season both going at the same time. So what you need to go to is your app store and download the Underdog Fantasy app, just like I did. Actually, I did this a year and a half plus ago, and I love this app. It is fantasy, but you can win real money with their Pick'em game. Okay, this is what you do. You go select between 2 to 5 players on their Pick'em game. Whether they're going to go higher or lower on their stats, and then spend your nights watching these games. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game going 5 for 5, legal in California, ton of fun to play. Just watch along and play while you're watching your favorite team. I did this last night. I had a Monday Night Football pick 'em in. I didn't win, but I've won these. I've gone 5 for 5 4 times so far this NFL season. So you should too. Build your dream team today. Go to their easy-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code XTRA. Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Plus, new customers will have a mystery special pick live in their Pick'em lobby. Must be 18 plus, present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
This update is presented by Macy's Backstage. It's hour 2 on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This Aztecs hoop team continues their winning ways. They beat Point Loma 71-51 at Viejas Arena last night. Boys have a few days off here before taking on UCSD at Lion Tree Arena on Friday night. Longtime assistant coach of the Aztecs, Dave Velasquez, is going to be joining the show at 7:30. In the NFL, Bears take down the Vikings last night. Final score 12-10, answering the question, who would win in a fight, Vikings or Bears? Seems like Bears got it. And in the NBA, Lakers had a rough night last night, losing to the Sixers 138-94, 44 points. That is the biggest margin of losing LeBron James has ever taken in his 21-season career. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about the perfect holiday gifts? Just $25 and under, like matching family PJs, fragrance sets, toys, and more. Find the latest trends, new arrivals, and great prices at a Macy's Backstage store near you.
Yeah! Woo! Happy Tuesday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. And there is a lot to get to here. Before I move on, has everybody thrown away their Thanksgiving leftovers? Are they officially out of the refrigerator, or are we still hanging on?
No, they're not. I still have just a tad left, which they say 5 days. Today's day 5.
Okay. Is it 5 days is the cutoff?
Well, I don't know. If it's not, that's what I have in my head.
And this is not from a judgmental standpoint. You'll find out why in just a second.
But I definitely ate Thanksgiving leftovers yesterday.
Okay,
and I'm planning on eating them today.
Okay, so all right. Listen, thank you for that mission. Thank you for your honesty.
Yeah,
and then
probably.
and TD, are you
I'm gonna go home and make a turkey sandwich.
Okay, so
with stuffing?
Here's my thing.
And some cranberry sauce.
I typically eat Thanksgiving leftovers until they're gone. Like it's not
a time frame.
No, it's just when they run out, and we really overcooked for this Thanksgiving. So I don't know if is it the week and a half mark? Is it, when do I have to start worrying is the question I'm asking.
I feel like if our stuff is in gallon Ziploc bags.
Yeah.
I feel like that's airtight.
Dude, 1000%.
No way it could go bad.
Nope. And Ben, nothing's made more sense to me. Sometimes I refer to Ben as the fountain of misinformation. You have never more appropriately informed me of anything.
When you open the bag, does air go in?
Well, yeah, but just for a really short amount of time.
Hang on. Let me handle this for you, Fletch. TD, shut the hell up. What the hell is wrong with you right now?
I mean, the majority of the time.
You can squeeze all that air out. Yeah.
Rich,
no problem.
Shut up, Travis.
When you squeeze the air out, do you say, flee bacteria? Leave this food.
Oh, TD, I cooked the perfect amount of food, so my food expires right on the date where it's supposed to. Son of a.
I'm going to alter this, but it's one of my favorite lines. Shut up, science nerd. It's way better the other way.
I'm just saying.
I just needed.
I'm pretty sure if you vacuum sealed your food right now, it would still go bad.
I just needed a little clarity. I didn't mean to start a fracas here.
I think you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
eat it as long as you want.
I'd eat it.
I mean, that's, I keep reading
Eat it till it's fuzzy.
If you microwave it, doesn't that kill bacteria?
See, that's what I said to Annie last night.
Does it though?
My wife's so concerned.
So, I mean, you're exciting the molecules with using a microwave, which causes friction. That's what causes heat. I don't think it's killing anything. Really.
No, it certainly is. No, in fact, there's been science done on this.
Do you say the words exciting the molecules?
Yeah.
That's
God,
correct.
How does it feel to be a virgin?
I mean, I suppose it
Not
would.
that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, dude, for being virgin is so cool. You take a sponge and you put it in the microwave.
That is true. Yes,
you set it for 60 seconds.
Yeah.
You kill all the bacteria. Like, they've done tests on that. So, and listen, don't eat the sponge.
But if you throw a cockroach in a microwave, it doesn't kill it.
Is that true?
So, and I have tried this.
Did you drop a nuclear bomb? It doesn't kill a cockroach.
Wait, hang on.
Unless you drop it on the cockroach.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on a second. You've put a live cockroach in a microwave?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. At the last radio station I worked at.
My goodness. Okay. So happens to the now? So
nothing. It just crawled around the inside of the
Let's explore
microwave.
that a touch further.
What?
Are you saying you did that at the last radio station you worked at to cover up for the fact that you did it at this radio station, but you don't want to get fired for putting a cockroach in the microwave here?
I can't confirm or deny that.
Okay. Also, is the reason why it happened at the last radio station because it was then taken over by a giant radioactive cockroach and everybody had to flee for their lives? Because
did you read about this?
That does sound like an origin story for a supervillain.
And also, were you trying to radioactivate the cockroach because you wanted it to then bite you, making you Cockroach Man?
Oh my god!
Didn't think about that, but now that you put it that way, I'm in. Yeah.
This conversation has fallen completely off the rails,
and it's going to lead us somewhere real bad real soon.
All I know is that I'm going to eat these Thanksgiving leftovers until they're done because Fletch told me to, and he seems to know what he's talking about, and so that's what I'm going to do. All right.
He seems to know. Yes, that is correct.
San Diego State needs a head football coach, and they kind of need to do this in a hurry. So it's the 28th of November. The last day of this month is on Thursday. And then we're 15 days away from the first signing period in college football, getting those high school recruits with their written commitment to San Diego State, should they want to accept a scholarship to come here. Also, the transfer portal opens soon. So we have like these dates that are hovering in the very near distance, and you want to get your head coach in so that these recruits, who I assume many of them are not wary, but concerned and interested to see where this football program is heading and whether their scholarship still stands, depending on who's hired. They're waiting with bated breath.
Can I throw out a bold prediction?
Yeah, let me hear it.
I think we're going to know sooner than later.
You think so?
Because of all the reasons you just listed. Like, they need to get going on the transfer portal. They need to get going on some new NIL building, program building, culture building. Like, I think that we are going to know who the head coach is, and don't hold me strict to this timeline, but within the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
In fact, probably sooner.
I would guess it's probably not going to be this week or next. And I promise you this is a guess. But I could see, like, what is it? December 11th is a Monday, or 12th, somewhere in that region.
Do you want to do this Price is Right style?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
So what, you just can't go over?
You can't go over.
Okay.
So closest without going over. If we're going to do it that way, I'll say Monday, December 11th, if that is a Monday.
It is a Monday.
Okay,
yes.
Monday, December 11th.
Okay, closest without going over.
Without going over.
You've got December 11th. Fletch?
Tuesday, December 5th.
Tuesday, December 5th.
So fast. Okay.
Wow. Gosh, I was gonna say today because then I wouldn't go over. Because I thought Fletch was going to go a little longer. I'm gonna say December 8th, Friday. December 8th.
So you took the middle.
Yeah.
You took the middle ground.
Yeah.
All right, we'll find out who's right.
That is such a Price is Right move.
It is.
Is it $1?
It feels smart. So look, here's the reason why I think, because we still have some college football left to play here. We have championship weekend. We've got some early bowl games that certain teams are going to be preparing for. So you're not going to have access maybe to all of the candidates you want to interview right away. And then maybe you want to take a couple of days to mull it, to really, put your heads down, put your heads together, and whoever's involved with JD Wicker with the decision-making process, and really come to the table and hash it out for a couple of days before making the decision.
So the transfer portal opens December 4th.
Yeah.
So now I feel worse about my guess of December 5th. Like, it might be earlier than that. I think they want the next head coach. And I haven't talked to anybody. I don't know anything. This is what I'm saying. If I was in JD Wicker's position right now, I would want my next head coach in name, in writing, contract signed by the time December 4th comes.
Well, yeah, you would kind of want to do that presser like before the 3rd. Everybody comes out. It's a big deal. There's big fanfare. You get people fired up. That would make sense.
And again, you talked to Brady Hoke about this on the coaches show. Like, is there any part of you that feels better about making the retirement announcement when you did, knowing that it gives San Diego State a leg up on the hiring process and getting ready for that transfer portal date, which we know is going to be incredibly important across all of college football, but especially across college football when you have a new head coach. So San Diego State may want to just step on the gas here and make the announcement. I don't know if they have a name yet or if they have a few names, but whittle down that decision to make it so it's announced before the transfer portal opens on December 4th.
Yeah. So SESU has received, this is per Kirk Kenny's article from the San Diego Union Tribune, where he mentioned Tony White by name as an interview having been interviewed by the athletic department at San Diego State. Also mentions Ryan Grubb, the OC from Washington, Brennan Marion, the OC from UNLV, the former Navy coach, who's been in the news recently as well. But San Diego State has received 11 verbal commitments for the class of 2024. The question that he poses, will they remain in place? And that's kind of the thing that you're talking about. If you make a hasty decision, and hasty doesn't mean wrong, it just means fast. If you make a quick decision here, well, then maybe if the next head coach is interested in those verbal commitments and wants to honor them by signing them, well, you have stability in place very quickly.
Right.
However, if you have a lengthier interview process, maybe there's a stone that gets unturned after this initial week following the season, or the initial 2 weeks following the season, that wouldn't have been unturned if you made a hasty decision. So it's a catch-22.
It's a tough spot to be in, because getting it right is more important than getting it done quickly. But in this day and age, in college football, I think you kind of have to get it right and get it done quickly. Like, it is a tough landscape to be in, and it's not a job I envy. I do not want to be the person hiring the next San Diego State football coach, but it has to be quick and it has to be right all at the same time, and that's a tough spot to be in. But if anyone's going to do it, I have a lot of faith in JD Wicker, personally.
SDSU has to have a short list already, though, right?
I would imagine, yeah.
You're
the
down
names
to a
we've heard.
few. Or there may be one you haven't heard on that list, and that could be on purpose because that ball is rolling. I mean, that's already in motion. So, I mean, as far as turning over stones, they've been turning over stones for weeks. There's got to be a short list, I would think, as well. Which, I mean, at this point, it's going to come down to I guess money and fit.
All right, so Tony White. It seems like right now it's the candidate we're hearing about the most. Spent 9 years on the Mesa. He was the cornerbacks coach the whole time. He also was elevated to recruiting coordinator at one point. Spent 5 years or so, maybe 6 years doing that with the San Diego State football team before leaving and being a defensive coordinator with the Arizona State Sun Devils, the Syracuse Orange, Nebraska Cornhuskers, most recently the role that he's serving right now. Defensive coach. I think there's going to be some blowback if you hire a defensive coach, unfortunately. And I'm not a part of this camp. I just think you need a good leader and a good recruiter. I don't care what side of the ball they coach. I think you could have a good team regardless of which side of the ball they coach. But there's a lot of people are hung up on this idea like, the narrative says, you need an offensive coach.
Well, the narrative says it because I think that's what fans like. I mean, fans want to see points on the board. Fans want to see a high-scoring offense. So if you have an offensive-minded coach, that's the focus of putting together a high-powered offense. Well, I think fans like that. Also, fans like to win, and defense wins championships.
I don't care if it's a defensive head coach if you can recruit offense. I think that's my biggest thing. Like, if it's a defensive head coach who is able to create a stellar defensive game plan, which we know Tony White's capable of because of his time under one of the greatest defensive minds in the country in Rocky Long, but you can recruit offense, you can recruit quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line, then more power to you, man. Come on in. We can hire a good offensive coordinator. Or, by the way, I think we got a pretty good offensive coordinator in the Mesa right now in Ryan Lindley.
Yeah, and Tony White, he's got the 14th ranked defense in the country right now. The Cornhuskers went from a very bad football team with Matt Rule now as the head coach to a much better, much improved football team. So, yeah, it's interesting, man. We're not going to know for a little while. We should write down those dates, though, that we selected. So I'm the 11th. You're the
8th.
And then you
now
pick.
I was the 5th, but now I want to be the 3rd.
Yeah, now I feel like I should have picked the 12th.
Okay,
that would have been the Price is Right move.
We should put something on this.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll figure that part of it out.
What?
Oh, no. The Pocky Hot Chip Challenge. That's for later in the season.
Do you know how many YouTube videos I've watched of people eating the hot chip? And it's not good.
Scared money don't make money. What was your date, Travis?
The 8th. What the hell does that even mean?
It makes sense in this context.
What? If you're first, you're last?
I feel like you saw that in a gangster movie.
He bought a magnet somewhere that said that.
Bumper sticker.
Out in Vegas.
He only speaks in bumper stickers.
That would be a good bumper sticker. We should trademark that. Aztecs Hoops last night, they beat Point Loma
People put
71-51
bumper
at
stickers
Viejas
on their
Arena.
car anymore.
Lots of talk, by the way, that this was a quote-unquote bad win for the Aztecs. This game does not count against metrics because it was a late scheduled game. It was against a Division II opponent. So the win counts. Like the San Diego State Aztecs are now 6-1. This game will not go towards KenPom net, anything like that. And that being said, it was a 20-point win for the Aztecs. If a 20-point win's a bad win, then I don't know what's a good win. So San Diego State wins 71-51 last night. NFL, Bears beat the Vikings last night. 4 picks for Josh Dobbs. A 12-10 game. 12-10 games do not belong on prime time. That's all I got for that. In the NBA, Lakers, rough night. They lose to the Sixers 138-94. That 44-point margin of victory is the largest LeBron has ever lost by. 44 points. LeBron James, year 21, loses by 44 points. Rough look for the Lakers.
Woof.
In 290 games against the 76ers, that is the worst loss the Lakers have ever taken.
Wow.
Things going well in LA.
Not so great.
By the way, Dave Velasquez coming up at 7:30. Longtime assistant coach of the San Diego State Aztecs basketball team.
Yeah. Looking forward to talking to him about the fact that they've now beat a 23rd ranked St. Mary's and a 19th ranked BYU. They lost, narrow loss to BYU. But they are still unranked.
Dude, it's funny. This was going to be my rant once again this morning, but I went on that yesterday. But when you look at BYU currently sits at number 10 in KenPom rating. That means offensive, defensive efficiency plus strength of schedule. BYU is the 10th ranked team in the country in terms of one of the most trusted analytic sources. BYU at home at the Marriott Center in Utah will be anybody, anytime. Like they could take down Purdue, the number 1 team in the country, if Purdue was to go to Marriott Center. Like that's a very feasible thing that happens. The fact that the Aztecs, who if they would have scheduled instead of BYU a cupcake Division II opponent, they would probably be the 10th ranked team in the country right now.
Oh, it just it drives me crazy. We can't. You know what? We'll talk to Dave Velasquez about this. He's coming up in just a few minutes. Assistant basketball coach for Brian Dutcher's Aztecs men's team, who had that national championship run off to a hot start this season, 6-1 so far, and a win over the pesky Sea Lions last night. So we'll break that down in just a few with Dave. But we got a couple of NFL headlines, things that are shaking down from some of the conversations head coaches are having with the media around the league. How about this little ditty from Sean McDermott? He says the Bills are very much in the playoff conversation still.
I think Sean McDermott is very much heading towards a hot seat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I threw that out there a few weeks ago when the Bills season was kind of struggling, and I more posed the question, could you see Sean McDermott be on the hot seat at some point? I'm thinking now, like at least the fire's turned on. Like at least it's a candle that's lit under there, because if you have this team, this roster, and don't get to the postseason, what's any different between what we talk about with Brandon Staley and the Chargers?
It's one of those things where Stephon Diggs, you're starting to hear a lot more, I don't know, whispers around the campfire that he wants out.
And by the way, his usage of timeouts during that game against the Eagles at the end there, like calling that timeout when you knew you were going to get the ball back and you had an opportunity to go down the field and at least tie the game, that would have been a lot better to have 2 timeouts than 1, but you try to ice the kicker for the Eagles, and now you're down to 1 timeout. Well, that ends up being costly.
Yeah, and their remaining schedule not conducive.
Nope.
They've got Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers, the Pats, and the Dolphins. I mean, it's going to be a tough road. I mean, are they out of the playoff conversation? No, but it doesn't look great. It does not look great.
No, it definitely doesn't. After the game, Kevin O'Connell, former Aztec quarterback and current Minnesota Vikings head coach, says that he's not committal to starting Joshua Dobbs after a 4-interception game. So the Pastronaut coming back down to earth after being traded to Minnesota. They go on their bye week. Maybe Jaron Hall gets healthy. Maybe the Vikings can sign a free agent quarterback.
I wasn't watching last night super closely because I was doing Aztecs, but were all the 4 of the picks Josh Dobbs' fault? Were there any like bounced off of wide receivers' hands and into the hands of the defenders?
I didn't see all 4, but I saw 2 that were bad.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Because
really
I didn't
bad.
want to come on and completely roast Josh Dobbs today, having not seen all of them, because things happen in the NFL. Justin Jefferson's not playing. It could have just bounced off of, I don't know, KJ Osborne's hands, but if it was as bad as it looked, how could you be committal to starting him?
Well, it feels like the Vikings magic that was happening there after the trade deadline is wearing off. And now I'm looking back going, they should have been sellers. They should have started over.
Yeah. Okay. There's two ways to look at it. They're still second in their division. The Vikings still are at very least in the playoff conversation, and they have a full, 15 days to figure it out, or less than that, 13 days to figure it out before they return to the field. Kevin O'Connell's a pretty good football coach, as it turns out. And so if there's someone who can right the ship, maybe it is Josh Dobbs. Maybe they work on some things at practice that are being exploited in games right now because people are catching up to whatever it is that he was able to do, the capabilities, the things that they were doing offensively to help him out. They were running a very simplified offense the past couple of weeks because they're running around like their hair's on fire trying to replace Kirk Cousins with a guy who just got traded this season.
He's been there for 28 days now.
Mm-hmm.
So of course there are. You got to simplify things. And he's done well. I mean, he's played well. Last night looked like a train wreck, but he's been good for him.
Yeah. Before we get out, I tell you guys about how skinny I've gotten.
Yeah.
Rich, a couple of your former teammates making the semifinalists for the Hall of Fame this year. One of them a first ballot. It's Antonio Gates, one of your former teammates with the Chargers. Looks like he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer, which I don't think anyone ever really doubted. And then Vince Wilfork. You play with him with the Patriots, right?
Yeah. Vinny is a good friend.
I believe it's his third time on the ballot. He has a real shot at getting in this time.
I hope he does. I mean, offensive and defensive linemen, especially interior linemen, don't get enough love when it comes to Hall of Fame voters. But
they are longevity. Was he a 14-year career?
Yeah, and by the way,
toughest, grittiest positions.
He was great with the Patriots. Then he went to Houston, and he was dominant with the Texans as well. I mean, helping out with J.J. Watt, screaming off the edge and Cushing in that defense. I mean, that was a real defense in Houston.
And then how about the fact that Patrick Willis, this is his 5th time on the ballot?
No, he needs to be.
How is Patrick Willis not a Hall of Famer already?
He was insanely good. He was an all-pro just about every single year he
played. I know
played.
It was a shorter career and he hung up the cleats a little earlier than most, but so did Calvin Johnson. And when you are literally the best at your position in the NFL, basically the entire time you were on the field.
Wasn't that true? Was it 8 years? I think Terrell Davis had a shorter career than Patrick Willis, maybe.
Yeah, the fact that P. Willie is not in is ridiculous.
P. Willie.
That's my boy.
P. Willie? Is that what you call him?
I mean, this time I called him that.
Maybe next time I'll shorten it even from there. P. Will.
Or just Willie.
All right, if you guys are like us, you've tried every diet out there and nothing seems to hold for you, nothing seems to work, get on over to sdfatloss.com or call 858-665-3211. Guys, how long into this thing are we with SD Fat Loss, our relationship?
3 months?
Yeah, 3 months.
3 months. And guess who we all got a text from last night? Dr. Wayne and Chloe.
Yep.
So, like, when you're talking about real commitment to the cause, which our cause was losing weight because we were big fat fatties, and Wayne and Chloe are still texting us 3 months into this thing, like, that's when you know it's a special commitment. It's a special organization. It really is. SDFatLoss.com. You can get a free consultation today. If you're worried about Christmas time, if you're worried about I don't want to start this right now because we get to Christmas, I'm going to be eating with my family. That's okay. Like, you can have that day. You can have the Christmas holiday party at your office. You can have Christmas with your family and not feel guilty about eating what you're going to eat then, but knowing that the next day you can get right back on it. And by the way, how would you feel showing up to Christmas this year when Uncle Marv is talking to you? And this will be the first time he's seen you in about a year and you've dropped 20 pounds. Woo! Like, that's something that can happen for you.
Man.
Get on over to sdfatloss.com. Give him a call, 858-665-3211. Show Uncle Marv your skinny ass, and I'm sure he would love to see it.
and get hit on by Uncle Marv.
Oh, no, not that.
Yeah.
858-665-3211. You can have a free consultation with Miss Chloe today. Get on over to sdfatloss.com.
Don't show anyone your ass, please, for the love of God.
It was more in the proverbial sense.
Skinny, though.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. All right. We still have those SeaWorld tickets to give away, a 4-pack coming up later in the show. Coming up next, though, we got to do our visit with San Diego State's assistant men's basketball coach, Dave Velasquez. He joins us after the big win last night. Next.
Let's talk some Aztecs basketball with longtime assistant coach Dave Velasquez next.
This update is presented by Staples Stores. Aztecs Hoops take down Point Loma last night, 71-51 at Viejas Arena, improving to 6-1 on the year. The boys have a few days off here before taking on UCSD at Lion Tree Arena on Friday night. Dave Velasquez, longtime assistant coach with the Aztecs, joins the show coming up next. NFL, Bears beat the Vikings last night, final score 12-10. Josh Dobbs, 4 picks in the loss. NBA, Lakers had a rough night, losing to the Sixers 138-94. 44 points. That is the biggest margin of losing LeBron James has ever taken in his 21-season career. Staples Holiday Deals means amazing savings for the holiday season. Right now, save 60% on custom holiday cards and invitations, as well as custom photo gifts like mugs and calendars. Offer ends 12/2. Visit staples.com/print for more details. Have yourself a merry little holiday deal at Staples.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. And we still have that 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego. The Christmas celebration going on there. Just keep it locked in here. We'll be giving those away shortly. That's holiday celebration happening now through January 7th.
All right, joining us on the phone right now. This is an esteemed guest, friend of the program, Dave Velasquez, longtime assistant men's basketball coach on the Mesa. We spend time talking to him all season last year. I'm out of breath because I ran to get a cup of coffee. I literally ran like 20 steps and I'm huffing and puffing right now, Dave. So I apologize. But actually, that's a perfect segue to ask you this question.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jaden Ledee is averaging like 30-plus minutes a night.
Right.
Yeah.
He might be in like slightly better shape than I'm in.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, pretty close.
Hey, Dave, we're going to ask you to break down me and Jaden. Who's the better conditioned athlete right now? I look, speaking of running around, I'm sprinting through the KenPom and Bart Torvik metrics, and I'm going website to website to figure out why the Aztecs aren't ranked yet. It is bothering me. I mean, it's digging in on me at this point. You guys have had success. You guys have either contended with or beat ranked teams now this season. Why, in your opinion, do West Coast teams as talented as the Aztecs basketball program for years now get left in a lurch when it comes to the national media?
Well, I don't know how accurate that is. And first of all, good morning, boys. I don't know. I for right now, you know, we don't put a lot of energy into it. It doesn't matter at all. I mean, truly, it's something for the media and the fans. not for any of the teams. And even when it comes to Selection Sunday, I don't know how much it matters how many weeks you spend in the top 25. It's something I'm sure that's on their sheets. But other than that, I can't even think of a reason why it would be important. Obviously, our fans know how good we are. The support we have, what we had at Saturday up in Orange County was unbelievable. Something we'll always remember forever. I think they helped us win. Found a way to get out of there with the win, and then obviously Viejas Arena is still one of the most, if not the best place to go watch a college basketball game on the entire West Coast, and not one of the best places in the country.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Lamont Butler, one of the best defensive guards in the country, by the way. Offensively, though, he's been a little bit quieter. I imagine he's chomping at the bit to start lighting it up out there. Do you feel like he's getting ready to get things going on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I do. I mean, he's just right there. I mean, there's, it's every year's new. I mean, and every year's a little different. And, Lamont's, he's working on some things, and he's working through some things right now. And we know how good Lamont is. And like you said, defensively, he's a monster. I mean, he's so good on the ball. He tires the other team's best guard out. He's always on that. He's always on that. Usually the guy that we got to stop. So, again, Lamont, to us, he's doing everything he can to help us go to 6-1. He's not trying to miss the free throws. He's not trying to miss good looks. I think he's doing a good job right now, and he'll continue to get better.
Dave, when you look at Reese Waters coming over from USC, it's just been such a perfect fit for this Aztecs team. And what impresses you the most, and I know you personally as a defensive head or a defensive assistant coach, like Reese has fit in perfectly with this Aztecs defense, which is almost impossible to do this quickly. And you could see it on his face, the amount of work he's put into this when he gets MVP of the SoCal Showcase. You see the emotion pouring out of him. Is that due to all the hard work he's been putting in off the camera to show you how good he's been on the camera?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the thing about the transfers, and again, we get this question all the time, and how do you get guys that come in to fit your system? And I always say, we're going to be who we are as coaches, as a defensive program, as that being the number one emphasis. But the other thing we're going to be is honest and transparent. And when we were recruiting Reese, it was very clear that if you want to come here, Coach Dutcher is going to be the perfect player for you to play for offensively. But defensively, you're going to have to come in here, learn our system, and learn it quickly if you expect to have early success. We've had other guys, really, really good transfers, and I could go through a long litany of guys who the first 5-6 games, they didn't have early success offensively because their defense wasn't up to par, so they didn't get the minutes and the rope offensively that Reese has got early on. And Reese has done a great job, and it started from the first day he got here in the first week of July when some days he wasn't worried about his offense. All he cared about was how good he was playing defensively and learning the system. And obviously it shows in his mind, the emphasis on defense he bought into right away, which makes us, 1, all look good, 2, helps us win, and 3, it puts him in the best position to be successful.
San Diego State assistant men's basketball coach Dave Velasquez joining us this morning after a 71-51 victory over those pesky Point Loma Nazarene Sea Lions last night. Jaden Ledee, leading scorer for the team, get himself another double-double.
First half double-double.
Dude, I mean, and rolling off of the most recent, most valuable player National Player of the Week honors last week. I mean, he's having the hottest start of any basketball player, arguably in the country. Your forward who played a valuable role off the bench last season has now played at an All-American level. I mean, just speak about how this happened, right? Because this seems to happen every year. I mean, we don't get to see all the work he puts in or what's happened over the offseason, but how did we get here with Jaden?
I think one of the main things with Jaden and the growth, obviously the work he's put in. I mean, it's a thing of legends, and the thing about San Diego State is we have a lot of legends of guys that have put in the time, and most of the time those guys are at the All-American level. And that goes back a long time of guys, and it was even before Kawhi, but the Jamal Franklins, Xavier Thames, Malachi Flynn's, Jordan Shackles, Matt Mitchell's. I mean, these guys live in the gym. I mean, Jalen McDaniels, who was a draft pick, was up at 7 a.m. every single day since he got to San Diego State from the time. And Jaden's just another one of those guys that has put the time in and lives in the Jam Center. And, the thing we have with Jaden is, and this is a true story, I mean, all we talked about with him after the game last night is to try to rest today. Like, try to just give your body a break because He's always working out. He's always trying to get in better shape. After practice, you'll see him on the football field running. And we just had a 2-hour practice, and he already worked out that morning for an hour by himself. So it's, Jaden's obviously put in the time. And the second thing is, Jaden's become very comfortable with who he is. He knows exactly who he is, the biggest, strongest, one of the most skilled players out there. And he's just really bought into who he is. And he is, excelling at a level that, funnily, I mean, we've seen this since he got here. I mean, we used to see him do this against Nathan Mensah, and we know how good of a defender Nathan Mensah is at practice. But it's so awesome to, it's very few guys can play as well as they practice. And Jaden's not only playing as well as he's practicing right now, he's at times playing even better than he practices, and he practices as good as anybody on our team. So it's been fun to watch Jaden's growth, and now he's going to start to go through a stretch, and we're going to try to help him as much as he can. Like, you are number one. Underline, exclamation point. If you want to beat San Diego State, you got to stop Jaden Legee.
It goes
so
through
there'll
him.
be new adjustments.
It goes through him. There's no question about it. And he's a smart guy too. 4.0 student. Like you said, the hardest working player on the court right now, maybe across the country. It's been thrilling to watch you guys start this season. I know you don't care about it, but we're really hoping that you get ranked soon. And go get those Tritons coming up Friday at UC San Diego.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me, and go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs, indeed. Dave Velasquez, assistant men's basketball coach on the Mesa, joining us right there. Always fun chatting with him.
Yeah. You know what? This team is something special. And I don't know if it's just a holdover from last year where you get that feeling, but it sure does feel like this team can make another run.
Yeah. This is cool. This is very cool. I'm so excited for this team, and we'll see what happens, right, Fletch? I mean, you're getting to watch all these games up close and in person. Is this the best start you've seen?
I mean, it's hard to argue. You think back to the Malachi Flynn year, though, the start of the undefeated start. That was pretty special. And this team, honestly, I feel very similarly to about that Malachi Flynn team because it's not necessarily the bench pieces of last year that really drove the team. This is the starters.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
It's like you got guys, 3 different dudes averaging 30-plus minutes this year. Like, this is the starting 5 who's making this thing work. So I feel really similarly to how I felt about Malachi's year, which that team would have won the national championship.
Wow. All right. Well,
Okay.
here we go again.
Stupid COVID, indeed.
COVID.
All
Thanks,
right.
COVID.
Coming up next, a very San Diego story that went to LA, but we're reclaiming it. That on the other side. Plus, I can't believe she did it, but she did it.
That is a bold tease, man.
We're going to have it coming up next.
They tried to take it from San Diego. We are going to take it back. And what is this woman doing? What is she doing? She's too bold. We'll explain next.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. We got a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld, so stick around if you want to take your whole family out there to enjoy their Christmas celebration at SeaWorld San Diego, going on now through January 7th. My wife took the boys there with a whole group of kids from the school, and it was a lot of fun. So check that out, SeaWorldSanDiego.com, or just be waiting for an opportunity to win those tickets.
Why does Fletch want us to eat spicy things?
Yes, he does want us to eat spicy things on a regular basis.
Uncomfortably spicy items. I don't understand what you like about this, Fletch.
I thought Rich liked ramen.
Well, yeah, but
I mean, like
even
ramen.
with the Pocky chip, you just saw it, you bought it, and then you came in, and you're
This
like,
one-
you're going to eat this today.
That would be fun. And by the way, a lot of people do it. A lot of people go viral for it. So there you go. The ramen thing, though,
A lot
Rich,
of people don't as well.
I didn't tell Rich about the spicy ramen. He posted a video on his own of spicy ramen, and then Kendall bought a thing of spicy ramen, and I was like, "Oh, Rich likes spicy ramen. I'll give Rich a packet."
Well, we're gonna do that after the show. That's
Sweet.
That's happening.
It is delicious. It makes you cry.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay.
Should we all three eat it?
Yeah. Yes, we
can.
should.
Yeah.
I was
that's
gonna make
better.
another one when I got home. I really like it.
That does make me feel better if you
Okay.
guys do it too. Yeah.
Okay,
we'll
good.
all eat it together. Spicy carbonara on 3. Ready, break. Okay.
Spicy creamy carbonara.
We have you mentioned this. We have a Hall of Famer in our midst, and I mean because even though Antonio Gates finished his career with the Chargers in LA, he's very much San Diego. He's very much San Diego. I want everybody to understand, like, from a player perspective, what the Chargers organizationally did to this city it's beyond reprehensible.
Disgusting.
Horrible, right? I mean, it's just a big lie.
We'll run out of adjectives before we get to the truth of it.
Yeah, it's just it's something that can't be forgiven. And I know there's a lot of players like me who feel awful for the city of San Diego, but at the same time still find themselves rooting for the Chargers because they want to see a guy who they played with get a win. Like a Keenan Allen, for example, who was a teammate of mine. I was there the year he got drafted. I'm so enamored with the person and the player he's become. I wish only good things for him, which means that kind of in a roundabout way, I have to wish for good things for the organization because I want to see him win a Super Bowl. Like it would make me very happy to see Keenan Allen be able to hoist the Lombardi trophy.
Right.
But I am conflicted too. This sucks. But you know what? After retirement, after a player, you know, I don't know, catches his last pass or throws his last pass or defends his last, whatever position they play, gets his last sack. When they go to the Hall of Fame, they can make the decision. And if I'm guessing, and this is just a guess, when Antonio Gates goes to the Hall of Fame, on his plaque, it's going to say San Diego Chargers.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope as well. I didn't realize they made the decision.
I think the players get to.
Okay. That's great.
Well, or at very least, like if they don't, because I can't remember exactly. I've only been to the Hall of Fame one time. I went out to Canton to play in the Hall of Fame game, and we get to tour the museum and all that stuff. But the reality is, when you have these superstars talking about their career and speaking to the fan base and speaking to all their former players, like they get to decide what their induction speech sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling if I know Antonio, I know what this city meant to him. It's going to have a very San Diego flavor.
What kind of teammate was AG?
He was awesome. I mean, he was sensational. He was one of the best people. He was also quiet, which you wouldn't expect him because he was such a flashy player. He was so good. And it's typical, right? You know, Randy Moss, Hall of Fame wide receiver, piled up touchdown receptions over the course of his career too, was one of my loudest teammates. You know what I mean? He was the most vocal teammate. Antonio Gates was quiet. He was very reserved, but he was kind and supportive. Like he was the type of guy who, if you were having a rough outing, a rough practice, a rough game, you know, he would get like right in your ribcage and be like, hey, keep going. You know what I mean? Like it would be little things like that where you're just like, yeah, he's right. Like we can do this, you know?
I mean, that's next level. You're not just a player, you're not just an athlete, you're not just a superstar out there, but you're also a teammate.
Yeah.
And that's big.
When you think about that offense, when it was really humming, Antonio Gates, LaDainian Tomlinson, Phillip Rivers.
I mean, you're talking about two Hall of Famers because Gates will get in and a potential Hall of Famer in Phillip Rivers. Now, if
and LT, the guy who still holds the record for most touchdowns in a single season.
Yeah, he's and I don't know if anybody's going to beat that record. Maybe one day, maybe.
They were showing like McCaffrey is going to have the most touchdowns at the end of this season, most likely if everything holds. He's not even going to sniff it.
No. I mean, it was crazy what that team was able to do offensively. And frankly, that's where I get so you know how I feel about Hall of Fames. I don't think it really matters. I think it's really great for the individual. But when people start saying, well, you know, Phillip Rivers, is he or isn't he a Hall of Famer? It's like, well, was he a good quarterback? Was he a great quarterback? Was he a guy who led teams to championships? No, but to a tremendous amount of success? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, and the only reason why LaDainian Tomlinson had the success he had is because the threatening passing attack during that era. Same thing with the you know, you could say the same thing about the run game supporting the pass game, but you need a great quarterback to be great. And Phillip Rivers, in my opinion, was great.
Yeah.
There's another story that we need to dive into here.
Yeah. Oh.
It's big.
Yeah. TD is chomping at the bit.
Well, come on. Are we going to break? Want me to wrap it up in 60 seconds? Veronica Rajek, the same woman who was after Tom Brady, who called herself Tom Brady's girlfriend, even though he didn't know who she was. Well, now she wants Travis Kelce. Yeah, she was at the Raider game, Raider Chiefs game. She puts out on Instagram a picture of herself in a Raider jersey. Says Las Vegas did their best, but the Chiefs played awesomely. And I have to admit, Kelce's such a great player and a hunk as well.
She might be AI.
Here's the first comment. You ain't no Taylor, sweetie. She's selling out stadiums across the country. You're selling donuts, calling out her man. Swifties are coming after her.
What has happened to the NFL?
See, that's the reaction I was hoping to get from the Beehive when TD went on his little rampage about Beyonce.
Well, the problem was I'm correct. That's the problem there.
There was a lot of support. All right. Coming up next, we break down the breakdown on Monday Night Football. Also, Four Corners. We do it every Tuesday. That's next on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
It's hour 3 on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update presented by Staples Stores. Aztecs Hoops last night, they take down Point Loma 71-51 at Viejas. Boys will be back on the court Friday at Lion Tree Arena taking on UCSD. In the NFL, Bears beat the Vikings. Final score 12-10. Josh Dobbs 4 picks in the loss. That brings Week 12 to a close. Week 13 will get going Thursday night. Seahawks in Dallas taking on the Cowboys. That game you will hear right here on San Diego Sports 760. And LeBron had the worst loss of his career last night, 44 points to the 76ers, 138-94 final score. Staples Holiday Deals means amazing savings for the holiday season. Right now, save 60% on custom holiday cards and invitations, as well as custom photo gifts like mugs and calendars. Offer ends 12/2. Visit staples.com/print for more details. Have yourself a merry little holiday deal at Staples.
Yeah! Woo! Happy Tuesday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, Fletch with you this morning. And if you're joining us for the first time and you're doing so on the free iHeartRadio app, we thank you. We appreciate it. If you've never tried it, we suggest it. Download it at your app store, the free iHeartRadio app. First of all, it's free. Second of all, you can take us with you wherever you go. And also our podcasts are available. Available. There it is. That's the word we're looking for.
It sounds weird though if you just say it over and over again. Available.
It's like that scene in Tommy Boy. Roads.
If you want to text the show, 70470, start your message with team. Rich asked the question earlier today, how long you're allowed to keep eating Thanksgiving leftovers.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And we've got a couple on here. 661 says, I'm with you, Rich. I'm eating leftover turkey sandwiches until it's done or until I have diarrhea.
Good point.
Which could be both.
Honestly, yeah. I don't think you should let that slow you down either. Look, here's the thing. I don't know if it's healthy to, but I'm going to keep eating Thanksgiving dinner until it smells bad. Like, yeah, that's just the way I'm going to judge it. There's a lot of people who are probably judging me harshly because they're like 2 days and it's done, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people.
2 days.
Annie doesn't eat leftovers. Like, it's hard to convince her to eat leftovers sometimes.
Like ever?
Like almost ever. I have to make it for her in order for her to eat leftovers.
By the way, have you guys seen the trend going around with leftover mashed potatoes?
I have not.
No.
Please.
Wait, what?
Kids, throw a little butter down on a frying pan.
Okay.
And you just flatten out some of your mashed potatoes and throw it on the butter. And then flip it a couple times. Get it to where it's nice and kind of golden brown on both sides.
Okay.
Mashed potato pancakes.
That's a potato pancake.
Yeah, potato pancake. This is not new.
Yeah, just,
No.
you literally made a potato pancake.
Wait a
Right,
second.
well, I guess I'll just go.
Wait, hang on a second.
You've ever heard of a potato pancake?
It's like a Jewish tradition.
Yeah.
It's like potato latkes, they call it.
Yeah, right.
They do it there. You've never heard of a latke or a potato pancake before? I don't know
Wait.
how did you get so fat and you didn't know about potato pancakes?
I really never heard of a potato pancake.
I honestly thought you were going to be like, so you get a tortilla, right? And then you take the mashed potatoes and you throw them in the tortilla. And then so you're going to make these mashed potato tacos.
There is something called Thanksgiving sushi now. Did you see this on TikTok?
No,
but I'm into it.
Okay, so basically you take all of the same things you make your Thanksgiving dinner with.
Just make it raw.
Well, no,
Oh,
it's
okay.
no, sushi's usually raw. Do not do that. But take all the cooked ingredients and you lay down the stuffing, you lay down whatever it is, the cranberry sauce and the turkey and even the mashed potatoes, like you kind of like pipe it into the middle and then you roll the stuffing is the outer shell and you roll it up and you cut it into little sushi discs.
Yeah, I'm here for that.
And then you eat it just like
So
and
what's
then
the outer layer?
the
Stuffing?
It's the stuffing, but then you dip it into gravy.
Oh God.
That's your soy sauce.
That sounds good. 559 says we mixed all our leftovers together and made a turkey pot pie.
Ooh.
Wow.
That
Genius.
sounds good.
Strong move.
Gosh, that is a strong move.
Yeah, look, you know what? Honestly,
Wow.
send them in. 70470. Start your message with team. If you've got some good ideas with Thanksgiving leftovers, we want to hear them all.
How about this from the 484? Leftovers after Thanksgiving are torture. Friendsgiving Saturday, deep fried turkey Tuesday, the main event Thursday. What's the number for SD Fat Loss again? Roll me over, please.
That is true.
I'll get you the number right now, actually.
Or you could just go to sdfatloss.com.
858-665-3211. You'll get a free consultation with Miss Chloe. Start dropping them pounds immediately.
And I'll tell you what. The Minnesota Vikings are going to get about 220 pounds lighter at quarterback because it doesn't sound like Joshua Dobbs
you know what?
is going to be their starter for very long.
That was the
longer.
other text we got here, 714. I've suffered from insomnia for years after watching last night's game. I'm cured.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what the Bears are good for, curing insomnia. They will bore you to sleep. So they win. It was a field goal fest for the Bears. Cairo Santos made 4 of them. He missed his opening drive field goal attempt, but made 4 of them. One was last second to take the 12-10 victory or lead over the Vikings, which led to the victory. So I don't know. It was awful. 6 turnovers during the game. Joshua Dobbs throws 4 interceptions. Justin Fields looked okay. Still kind of meandering towards being
2 fumbles in the fourth quarter. The last one, a brutal one. Where he was kind of making a play on a third down. It looked like it was a really cool Justin Fields play where he kind of navigated the pocket and squirted free somehow and gets into the open field and then just gets popped, drops the ball immediately.
The point we always make, though, I mean, as awful as it was on the whole time. I watched it from start to finish. That game was on.
24 million other people.
Exactly. And because there's nothing out there that was rivaling it on a Monday night that I could even turn to. So, I mean, NFL's got things cornered here.
No, they do. They do. And frankly, with apps like Underdog Fantasy, where you're playing daily fantasy games like their pick'em game, that's the reason why I was invested. I mean, honestly, this would be a game I probably wouldn't have watched unless I had something on it. And it's fun, right? You know, you get that opportunity, or you have a fantasy football team and you're starting Justin Fields now because you kind of stunk. You needed a quarterback. You had him waiting on your roster, maybe whatever the situation may be. But that is like the user friendliness, if there is such a word, of the NFL. The fact that it's not just watching the product, it's also interacting with it that way. It makes a bad game feel good anyways for some, but that was nearly unwatchable football. And for everything good we've said about the Vikings recently, all of a sudden, the Vikings very much so are looking like a team who lost their starting quarterback 3 weeks ago.
And they're absolutely on the playoff bubble. So you get to the point where at the trade deadline, we were wondering, okay, well, which direction is this Vikings team going to go? Well, they added Josh Dobbs. He comes in, he took over the starting role after Jaron Hall got hurt. And Josh Dobbs was really good for a couple of weeks. But I don't know if you guys remember, and not to toot my own horn, I said yesterday on the show, this is going to end with Josh Dobbs. It's not going to be this magical run forever. Like, quarterbacks get found out in this league. And last night, 4 interceptions. He got found out.
Toot, toot.
Oh, yeah. That's tooting.
Yeah. Well, and you're right. And this is what separates the wheat from the chaff. This is what separates, the cream rising to the top in the NFL as it goes, as the wheel turns, the most talented quarterbacks, the quarterbacks who are annually great, like the Patrick Mahomes, or even the ones who are like on the border, like a Dak Prescott. Like, at very least, he's consistent enough to get you to the playoffs or get you in the playoff conversation every year.
Yeah.
But the Joshua Dobbs, the Geno Smiths, even, I mean, are they gonna win you championships? The answer is most likely not.
If you're outside that top 15, it's a tough place to be for a quarterback.
No
you're
doubt.
Gonna be in that revolving door.
Yeah.
Well,
no
yeah.
doubt.
Yeah, because then you got to go up against the top 15.
Right.
I mean, you're all of a sudden you're playing against the Patrick Mahomes, who's going to make some magic one way or another. I wonder. I mean, does this lengthen Justin Jefferson's injury a little bit? Does he milk that out now as you're looking at this team going, well, there's no one to throw to me?
Yeah.
So what do I do?
Justin Jefferson weighed in on that. He put out on social media earlier in the week, I don't care about your fantasy football teams. I can't play football yet. That's why I'm sitting out.
They have this bye week,
Was the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
He was legitimately in a lot of leagues.
You're hurting my team and my chance for success. But, you play this thing out. They go into their bye week now. Where are they at? Are they 6-6? Is that their season?
I believe so. And they are right on that bubble of the playoffs. I believe they would be the 7th team in.
Yeah, I forget the record. I'd have to double check it, but they're right there. They're a bubble team for sure, either just in or on the outside looking in now after that loss. I look at the Vikings as a team
6-6.
There you go.
They are on that 7 spot in the playoff picture.
very much so in the conversation. Joshua Dobbs has played way over his head this season so far. And this includes going back to his time with the Cardinals before being traded to the Minnesota Vikings, because nobody had high expectations for what he was going to do in Arizona either. And then certainly on the other side of the trade, I don't think anybody could have expected that replacing Jaron Hall in the first game, getting the victory there, but then going to Atlanta on like 5 days of prior notice and getting a victory with the Falcons. So come down to earth a little bit. Vikings definitely a bubble team, but if you get Justin Jefferson on the other side of the bye week and you have Joshua Dobbs with another week of experience on this roster, learning the offense a little bit better, who knows? Maybe they can make a late season run.
Let's go flip side real quick with the Chicago Bears. That is now back-to-back weeks where the Chicago Bears forced 4 turnovers. They did it against Jared Goff and the Lions, and they end up losing that game because of a fourth quarter meltdown. They do it against the Minnesota Vikings. Justin Fields leads a last-minute field goal drive to win the game. 4 turnovers, 8 turnovers in 2 games for the Chicago Bears defense.
Yeah, but I mean, so good. That's good defense. Is there anything about the Chicago Bear defense that you're looking at going, this is a rock star defense that's going to carry this team? I mean, they're good.
Well, they're 4-8, so probably not.
Right.
But when you're looking forward to the future and you look at the draft this year where the Chicago Bears will have 2 top 5 picks most likely, like you can start thinking, okay, well, let's add to this offense, make it a little better, and maybe our defense is already hemmed up.
Here's my suggestion to the Bears. And I understand like Matt Eberflus and all these players are going to want to win football games. But if we're talking about their future, and who knows? I mean, most likely their general manager is going to be fired with this regime as well, and they're going to have a fresh start. So everybody's trying to win football games to protect their individual careers moving forward. But from a franchise standpoint, if I'm a Bears fan, all I'm hoping for is Browns, Cardinals, Falcons, Packers. Those are their last 4. Lose all of them. Or excuse me, Lions first, and then those 4 teams. Lose all the next 5 games. Because, first of all, what difference does it make? If you go, a 7-win season, you miss the playoffs, or, well, if they win all 5, they're a 9-win football team.
They're in the playoffs.
But if you're looking towards your future, having 2 top 5 picks is more valuable than an early round knockout this year in the playoffs, right? I know what you're saying. But would you rather get to the first round of the postseason and get knocked out, or would you rather have 2 top 5 picks in the next draft?
If the Bears rattle off 5 in a row and they get to the postseason, are you counting them out as a first round knockout? I'm not.
Well, who would they play?
So they would play Vikings. If they beat the Lions next week, they host the Lions at Soldier Field. Okay, so all of a sudden you're on a 2-game win streak and you're a 5-win football team, 5-8.
And then your first game is against the 49ers in the postseason?
Well, okay.
I mean, come on.
You still get the first overall pick.
Oh, yeah, it would
because of the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, but you could have the first and the 4th. That sounds a lot better to me. Or you have the first overall and then you trade that 4th one for a litany of second-round picks.
Yeah.
Like, it could go so much better for you. I'm saying if you just lose all these, rather than getting knocked out in the first round of the postseason. It's the Bears. I don't give a crap about them. Do whatever you want. But I'm saying if I was the GM of that team and I wanted to keep my job for next year, I'm going to ownership and saying, look, if we lose these next 4 games, we're going to have so much possibility when it comes to the draft.
Do you think the Bears fan base wants to see them just blow it for the rest of the season?
We can text Brent and ask him, but I'm guessing yes.
I would think so too, actually.
Yeah. To me, if I'm a Bears fan, that's how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Especially, again, like you said, whoever they face in the opening round. Unless, hot teams, it's a
oblong-shaped ball. It bounces in weird ways.
It does. Okay, Bears.
They knock out the 49ers. Bears knock out 49ers first round of the playoffs.
Are we thinking Bears Super Bowl this season then? Justin Fields Super Bowl MVP. All right, what are the
What about a Bears Broncos Super Bowl?
Broncos have a 29% chance of making the postseason right now, just according to analytics.
They're pretty good.
I mean, they're on fire.
All right, the Bears aren't going to the Super Bowl, but they did win. They beat the Vikings 12-10. We were just talking about that last-second field goal made by Cairo Santos, and that put the Bears ahead for the final time, 10 seconds left in the game, and so they beat the Vikings on Monday Night Football. That was an awful game. It really was. I mean, you can't put lipstick on a pig.
You guys should have just watched Aztecs.
I should turn on your view. Listen to the call there.
John Schaefer was on the call.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Also in the NBA, LA Clippers star Russell Westbrook said he will not tolerate fans saying personally insulting things about him or his family. This was
Get over yourself.
a 113-104 loss to the Denver Nuggets. So 30 seconds remaining. The score was almost what it ended up being for the game. Russell Westbrook just stood at midcourt and was just shouting at a fan in the stands who I guess said naughty things to him. One of the officials, one of the referees got in between him and the fan who was behind the scorer's table. I mean, this guy is...
I like that we just laugh at him.
It's just Charmin soft.
Well, can I
It
just
is
give a little
unbelievably
piece of
soft.
advice to Russell Westbrook?
Yeah.
Being the butt of the joke sometimes can make you a little more endearing.
Yeah, he doesn't
Speaking
like
from
it, though.
personal experience.
I wonder if they called him Westbrick again. They should get that going.
Yeah, I like it.
71-51 victory for the Aztecs over the Point Loma Nazarene Sea Lions. Their leading scorer again, Jaden Ledee, double-double in the first half, 15 points, 13 boards. Guard Reese Waters also added 14 points. This is a pretty good basketball team right now.
It feels pretty good waking up every morning and saying, hey, the best player in the world in college basketball lives here in San Diego.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jaden.
playing at an all-American level.
I mean, I've been saying that for years. Ben Fletcher.
Yeah, well, good point.
Yeah.
Best basketball player.
484. The Birds aren't a bubble team, but Jalen Hurts do have that bubble butt tush push.
Wow.
There
Thank
have
you,
it.
484.
Yeah.
Wow. Jalen Hurts got that bubble butt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ladies think Jalen Hurts is a very handsome fella.
Because of his bubble butt?
Just because of everything he's got going on.
Rich has a bubble butt.
I do.
Ladies think Rich Ornberger is a very handsome fella.
Yeah,
I
yeah. And so do the men.
Yeah. I get a lot of attention from men on Instagram.
TD, you got something to tell
Well, I
us?
just listen. So I wrote this letter to Rich, and I just let me just read it real quick. Just just save it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'll say it.
Well, the coming up at 8:30, Travis Dale professes his love to me.
It's a small poem. It'll be fine.
more
Before or
of an
after
ode.
Pro Football Doc?
Yeah. Oh no. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Oh well,
Yep,
well,
yep.
well, we'll see if we can squeeze it in.
Yeah.
Oh.
Pro Football Doc David Chow joining us. He's going to be coming up here on our Tuesday, as he always does on Tuesdays. We
Aw.
never ever.
Big Rich, Peony, and Fletch.
We never
Yeah.
forget.
We never
Listen,
have once forgotten.
I
that.
don't know if I said peony.
I think you did.
I did.
We should roll the tape. In fact, we have that for right now. No. Also, did you guys see? So after the loss to the Eagles in overtime, there were a couple of Buffalo Bills players chirping at Eagles fans leaving the field or
Right.
toward the end of the game.
Right.
So this Eagles fan, I don't know what he said to Shaq Lawson, but it was bad enough that that Lawson got right up on the rail, and then I don't know what he said, but the Eagles fan didn't back down, and then Lawson shoved him.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, that's called assault.
Right. Also on film.
So
Not
It is
good.
wild when something that you get paid to do on the field is totally not cool off the field.
Mm,
And then when you do that thing right after you get off the field, people lose their minds.
I feel two ways about this. There's this feel like, so depending on what this person was saying to Shaq Lawson, like there's a part of me that sort of looks at certain people in the world, and I just think, like, if we rewound the clock 400 years and it was still like, people armed with swords and
Yeah,
defending
that's-
land.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like civil discourse kind of falls by the wayside when you're settling things with fists and knives and swords. Like, there's a lot of people who talk a lot in today's society because they know that they have a defense lawyer if they get popped.
Correct.
And that's sort of what this felt like. Like, this fan got all in this football player's face because whatever, he's all drunk or whatever. But I mean, I don't get me wrong, Shaq Lawson's wrong and he should pay a settlement, or I
two
don't
things
know.
can be true at the same time. Shaq Lawson could be wrong, and the Bills fan could have deserved it.
Or the
Yeah,
Eagles fan.
could have deserved it. Sorry.
And I agree with that. I agree with that entirely.
And 400 years ago, or even in the Old West, he'd be dead.
I just
It just kind of feels like the scheme of a car pulls in front of you and steps on the brakes, so you rear end them, and then now they can sue you. And I mean, he was baiting him.
Yeah.
I mean, this is on purpose, and it would be great if a lawyer brought this to court and a judge went, yeah, he deserved it.
Are we talking out of both ends of our mouth right
we
now?
absolutely
Yeah,
are.
one-
Because we
100%.
had the Russell Westbrook story, and then this story.
Well,
Is it because of what we know about Russell Westbrook and what we know about Shaq Lawson?
Well, I mean, look,
maybe.
yeah,
Maybe
it kind of
it
is. Well, the thing is, like, I don't know. You know what's weird about my brain? Like Russell Westbrook going to a podium and being like, "That fan was mean to me, and I will not tolerate people talking to me disrespect." I don't know, for whatever reason, I have a little bit more respect. Like, this fan must have said something absolutely awful to Shaq Lawson. Lawson gets in his face and ends up shoving him. There's almost because in the back of my mind, I wish that it could get medieval. Like, I wish that could be resolved in a cage fight. Like, you know what I mean?
They start handing out short swords.
Yeah.
Here's some Roman swords. It's the only way to settle this.
I don't know, man. Or like if society crumbles all of a sudden and it's Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Are you rooting for this?
No, I'm not rooting for it. But I'm just saying there would be a little bit more justice in reality.
Do you guys, go through life and then like just pops into your head of like, well, I should probably hold on to this in case, everything goes to hell and I have to fight for survival, like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's why I haven't tried it.
Dude, 1,000%. And I'm
good.
That thought goes through my mind more often than I really care to admit.
Okay, good. It's probably almost daily for me.
I also have dreams about how I would survive as a clan leader, meaning like I would create a clan of people.
Oh.
Not like
Yeah, don't say
that.
no, or I guess what would you call it? Like a roving pack of miscreants.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Not like Like what I mean is I would build like a small militia of people.
Yes.
And I would try to put myself in a leadership role.
Yeah.
And then we would go and we would attack other people.
Yeah. and take their land.
And we would take their land and their resources.
Yeah, and then they would be part of your gang now.
Yeah, my gang. Yeah,
I'll be honest, I'm glad we live when we do. I'm just going to say that because I would have been killed 5 times already.
No, but you would have purpose. I feel like you would be good in the group, in the gang.
But you're talking about like literally the video game Clash of the Clans.
Yes.
Is that a video game?
Yeah,
it's a mobile game.
Oh, dude, you can play it.
Yeah, we should. You want to be part of
We
our?
mentioned earlier, but semifinalists have been announced for the Hall of Fame. There's some good names on this list. Some guys I can't believe aren't already in, but a first-time finalist, Tiki Barber. Quickly, yes, no.
Yes.
Yeah. Tiki was good.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
First-time finalist, Antonio Gates. I think we all think he's going to be a
Should be
first-ballot
in.
Hall of
100%.
Famer. Second time, Dwight Freeney. Can't believe he didn't get it on us first.
Dwight needs to be.
Yeah, got to be
needs to
there
be.
too.
Another former teammate of mine, another awesome human being.
How about this one? Second-time finalist, Eddie George.
Eddie George.
Again,
wow.
another name that I'm like, how is that not a
Dude,
first-ballot
you're
Hall of
gonna
Famer?
have a hard time saying a name that I'm not going to agree should be in the Hall of Fame because every time these lists come out, I go, yeah, all 15, put them in.
Right.
Second-time finalist James Harrison, who is a viral moment every single time he gets put on video with his weightlifting routine.
James Harrison was a monster.
He's a funny guy, man. Rodney Harrison, third-time semifinalist. Devin Hester, third-time finalist. Devin Hester pushes a lot of people in the wrong direction because he's either 100% a Hall of Famer or like, why is a return specialist even being talked about?
No, he needs to be in.
Well, he was the best return specialist of all time.
I mean, we're just talking about the Bears. I mean, that was when, like, legitimately when people are like, yeah, can they get to a Super Bowl with a great returner and a great defense and without a quarterback? Is that possible? And the answer was yes.
It's named Brian Urlacher and Devin Hester.
Yeah, it worked. Okay, really quick before we go and we catch up with Doc Chow, Pro Football Doc, get you set with all the injury updates around the NFL. Want to talk to you about Toyota. You need to get to your San Diego County Toyota dealers today. And here's why. New vehicles are arriving daily. They're available now. They got their cars, their trucks, their popular SUVs. So whatever kind of vehicle you're looking for, hurry into your San Diego County Toyota dealers today. Also, you got to check out this BZ4X. They've got this all-electric brand new SUV. You can enjoy the most instantaneous torque and outstanding driving performance and comfort. Plus, you get access to HOV lanes and 1 year of unlimited free charging with EV Go. Toyota certainly makes it easy. They did for me when I was in search of our next car. Had a breakdown several times, actually, in my old car, and I wanted a reliable automobile. Every single person I talked to said, you need to get a Toyota. And so it's like power of suggestion after a while. You keep hearing people, well, they run forever. And it's true. I've had zero problems with my 4Runner since buying it. I put gas and oil in the thing, and it just runs like a top. So if you're looking for a reliable automobile, Get to your San Diego County Toyota dealers today, or look at Toyota.com for a great deal on a Toyota. Make sure to visit Toyota.com. Check out all the latest offers, compare models. It's actually really cool. We've been doing this recently because we're about to buy a new car. You could search the whole inventory there. Finding the Toyota that's just right for you starts at Toyota.com. And if you just head out to your San Diego County Toyota dealers, you will find the deal right for you today.
Pro football doc David Chow joins us next to break down the injuries around the NFL.
This update is presented by Staples Stores. Aztecs hoops last night. They take down Point Loma 71-51 at the Ajas Arena. The boys get a few days off now before taking on UCSD at Lion Tree Arena Friday night. NFL Bears took down the Vikings last night. Final score 12-10. Josh Dobbs, 4 picks in the loss. That brings Week 12 to a close. Week 13 gets going Thursday night. Seahawks in Dallas taking on the Cowboys, a game you're going to hear right here on San Diego Sports 760. And in the night, Sixers beat them 138-94. That 44-point loss is the biggest loss of LeBron James's 21 season career. Staples Holiday Deals means amazing savings for the holiday season. Right now, save 60% on custom holiday cards and invitations, as well as custom photo gifts like mugs and calendars. Offers end 12/2. Visit staples.com/print for more details. Have yourself a merry little holiday deal at Staples.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760, and you want to keep listening this segment, because we have a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego Christmas celebration, where the wonders of the sea meet the joy of Christmas at SeaWorld San Diego Christmas celebration, happening now through January 7th. Meanwhile, there's some injuries around the NFL.
Oh, you're done right there.
They seem to be stacking up a little bit here. We got to navigate through it, so we do it every single week here with the man, the myth, the legend, Doc David Chow. How are you, Doc?
I'm doing great. How are you guys? You guys still full of turkey?
Oh yeah. We were just talking about this. So, you're a doctor, and I understand.
This is great.
I understand.
Oh, that's good time.
Yeah. Your world revolves around, joints and bones and tendons and the things of the like. But we have a very maybe medical question to ask you. So when is the appropriate time to finally move on from the Thanksgiving leftovers from a health standpoint? Like, we're 5 days out. I'm still planning on having some leftovers today. And to be perfectly honest with you, if we fast forward to Thursday, I'm still having some Thanksgiving leftovers. So when is the appropriate day to say, you know what, I'm laying down the sword, I'm throwing away the rest of this stuffing, Doc?
Well, like everything in life, and whenever I get asked a question, medical, about football, or about should players practice more or practice less, it's an individual decision. If you, if you're a keto guy, you should stay away from the leftovers and the stuffing and whatever from the get, right? You had your cheat day and you're good to go.
I am.
Yeah. If you're my wife, she thinks 24 hours in the refrigerator and things got to go, move on. She moves on pretty quickly. Whereas if it's still in there and it doesn't have green on it, I might eat it. So I think it's to each his own, right? I mean, in terms of whatever it is, it's a very individual decision, right? And going from there.
Doc, would you say it's a safe strategy just to keep eating it until it makes you physically ill?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that question. Very important.
Well, I might argue that might be one leftover meal too many. Keep eating it and stop short of the meal that makes you ill.
But then how would you know that the next meal is going to make you ill?
True.
It's a good point. You don't know until you know.
Like Doc, you don't know how far your tank of gas is going to go until you've run out of gas.
Well, I will admit that I do have an electric car, and I've driven it on zero before taking it to the charging station.
Right,
so
right.
that is a game that can be played. I think everyone waits for the light to come on before they go. Well, most people, I guess, because you got some reserve in there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll get sediment at the bottom of the gas tank. And that's what I worry about my intestines. So that's the reason why I take it to the limit every time. Dr. David Chow joining us, Pro Football Doc on X. Also, you can check out SICScore. That's SICScore.com, Sports Injury Central. You can get updated on all the injuries, not just in the NFL, but the NBA as well, Major League Baseball when that's up and going. So Aaron Rodgers is still touting a comeback that seems like it may land on Christmas Eve. So this guy gets injured in the opening game of his season, and he's talking still about coming back in the same year from an Achilles tear. If he does this, this is going to be an unfathomable timeline as far as I'm concerned. In your mind, though, as an orthopedic doctor, having done these surgeries and many surgeries like it, is this even safe for Aaron Rodgers to do?
Well, that's a complex question, and we'll talk about the individual side of things. If Aaron Rodgers played any other position other than quarterback, this would not be a discussion. if he were an offensive lineman, a D end, a linebacker, a DB, a wide receiver, a running back. Cam Akers made a great recovery, but wasn't himself. He was younger and he had more time than Aaron Rodgers did. If this were Aaron Rodgers' back foot, I'm not sure that we're having any of this discussion. Because it's his front foot, he's got a strong arm, and everyone in the New York Jets facility would agree 80% Aaron Rodgers is better than anything that they have. And a 50% mobile Aaron Rodgers, helps them. Look, as long as he can avoid injury and move around in the pocket, it makes it liable that he can play. You have to remember, the day that it happened, we tweeted out and said, look, sports injury centric towards Achilles. As soon as Robert Saleh basically confirmed it post-game, I tweeted out that basically there was a snowball's chance that he could return because of the injury, because of this, that, the other. Now, I was thinking more playoffs. The Jets would have to make the playoffs and Zach Wilson get him there, and it wasn't impossible. He's talking December. I guess it's not impossible. The timeline's not that far off. It's not because of the revolutionary surgery that's 15 years old with the speed bridge. I mean, that's not why it is. That's been around a long time. But it's who he is, the position he's had, the good rehab. But remember, he's only 50% weight bearing as he's jogging on the weightless treadmill. So he's not there yet. But I think the most apt analogy, besides I saying the snowball chance, it is getting colder, so maybe the snowball has more of a chance. But it's still, this Sunday, you probably didn't see, at the Broncos game, they had some sheep racing where little kids in helmets held on for dear life onto the backs of sheep, little 5-year-old kids. I mean, my tweet was, this is the Jets trying to hang on until Aaron Rodgers can come back. I mean, in playoff contention. I mean, that's a big factor in this, too.
We should have Fletch do that.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
good.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sheep racing.
Might have to be a little bigger than the ones that the little kids were riding.
He's only 5'10".
Yeah.
It's,
He fits in compact spaces.
Exactly. Doc, another person getting what?
Dude, I mean, we didn't say anything like that wasn't factual.
Correct. Another person getting beat up out there, Doc. Justin Herbert, over the weekend's game, he goes out for the concussion protocol. He comes back in. They say no concussion. However, he's got a bum finger. Every time he goes down, he's favoring that hand, making sure it doesn't get hit. Is there any chance that he takes a week or two off here?
I would say 0, because their Chargers are 4-7, right? Did I get that right? And look, they're not out of it yet. 10-7 pretty much guarantees you a wild card spot, given that there are 3 teams. 9-8 could sneak you into. Look, I don't think you were on the team yet, Rich, but I don't think so. The year that we made the playoffs at 8-8, I don't think you were on the team yet.
No,
we were
I wasn't there yet.
4-8, chasing Denver at 8-4, and we played in Tampa, and we won to go 5-8. We're on the plane. It's old enough that you didn't have streaming services. You were still watching on the little TV on the screen, Sunday Night Football, and it would come in and out. And some people had radio, it was before the whole streaming internet. It was the loudest cheer I ever heard on a plane when Denver lost that game, because we knew we played Denver the final game of the season, and it was 8-7 against 7-8 Chargers, and we won, and even won the next round of the playoffs. We knew we were hot. So the Chargers aren't out because of that. They play the Patriots. There's no way Justin Herbert's going to take time to sit down. And by the way, that was the year Brady tore his ACL, and Matt Castle led your Patriots. I think you were on that team, actually, maybe, to an 11-5 record. And you all did not make the playoffs. And the Chargers, by the division, hosted a game at 8-8. And the 11-5 Patriots didn't make the playoffs that year.
That's about to happen in the NFC South this year. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
It actually will. Yeah.
Doc, when you look at the Browns, their only chance to make the postseason, and currently they're in if the season were to end today, but is Myles Garrett in the defense. Myles Garrett, a little banged up. What's his prognosis? Is that the word? For the rest of the year?
That sounds good.
That sounds right.
Yeah, you nailed that.
Yeah.
You landed that plane.
I think his left shoulder injury might be related a little bit to his car accident last year. On the podcast, we looked at video and said it might be related to the biceps tendon. It's said to be no big structural damage. You're going to be able to play through. He's Myles Garrett. He will play through. I mean, another Patriots example for Rich, our guy Junior Seau, when he was on the Patriots, tore his rotator cuff and long head of the biceps tendon, finished the season. So you can do that. I made fun of him on the podcast, my guy Junior, a little bit. After a pick against Cleveland that year, he tried to do the Lambeau leap into the crowd, but the wall was high, and because of his rotator cuff and biceps, he couldn't pull himself up. So he jumped up and then, went right back down. Of course, everyone gave him some grief about that, that he couldn't jump high enough or pull himself up.
That's awesome. Hey, real quick question, because I don't exactly know what they did when. So I remember I had a biceps tear in 2010, and they did something called a tenodesis or tina.
Yeah.
What is that?
Okay, so like everything, like whether it's Thanksgiving leftover food, is it the cranberry sauce that has preservatives, or is it the homemade stuffing where the bread was old to begin with, right? Who knows, right? In terms of what you can eat. Biceps, there's different tears. What you're talking about is a proximal biceps tear, and biceps has two heads proximally, and that's what Myles Garrett potentially has. It is something that you can try and play through. The tenodesis is to staple it down. Now, if it were a distal biceps tear, it would require surgery because it prevents you from being able to wrap up and do things. So everything's a little bit individual in the circumstance, but you had a proximal biceps tendon tear, tenodesis.
Lord.
Yeah.
All of that sounded gross.
Yeah, they stapled it right back down. They stapled it right back down to that humeral head.
So
Sounds
when you
great.
got the X-ray where you could see all your
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Turns out like whenever you get your lower body x-rayed, they can see they got a lot more than they bargained for on that one.
You don't have to hold like a shield over it?
No, dude, you can't. Especially if they're trying to look at your groin. I had a groin tear one time.
Yeah.
So it just had, let's just put it, well, there's a little bit of a hog in the way. Look,
Wow.
Doc Chow, we enjoy your candor every time you join us.
Since you brought the topic up and we're talking medically, believe it or not, you can Google this. Okay.
Yeah.
There is something called because medical doctors have their own humor too, called a Throckmorton sign. Google it. There's something called a Throckmorton sign when you're talking about x-rays of the groin area. I'll leave it at
Throckmorton sign.
We're looking this up right now.
I got it.
Doc David Chow, you are electric as always. We'll do it again in a week, brother. And again, get to sicscore.com, sicscore.com for all of your injury updates. Thank you for the time this morning.
No problem. Let me know about your medical research, okay?
We will. I'll shoot you a text later on. Thanks, Doc. All right. Coming up next, we have some breaking Padres news. Also, we've got to give away some tickets.
Yeah, we do got to give away some tickets. Also, as I was talking about sdfatloss.com with my friends, they were like, "Oh yeah, but I want to wait till after the holidays because I can't miss that holiday meal." And I'm like, no.
You don't have to miss anything.
You don't miss anything. You don't miss anything here. SDFatLoss.com, the coaches, the staff, they'll show you how you can lose weight quickly, but still enjoy your holiday meals.
You nailed it.
We nailed it. Come on. They know what they're doing over there. And look, and they obviously do because collectively as a show, we've lost like 120 pounds almost, which is absolutely insane. What's also insane is we went through the reduction phase. Now we're in the maintenance phase. And we're keeping the weight off, which, look, I've done a lot of fad diets. I've done the counting calories. I've done the drinking shakes, the eating the nasty granola bar, all the things, injections, the things that have not worked because I have not been able to keep the weight off, not with SDFatLoss.com. They'll show you how to do it right. So go there right now, SDFatLoss.com. Schedule your free consultation. How great would it be? You show up at the holiday party, you're already 10, 15 pounds lighter because that's what's going to happen in literally 3 weeks. You'll drop the weight just like we did. So SDFatLoss.com. Start your weight loss journey today. Call number 5 right now, 844-570-1360. If you would like to go to SeaWorld San Diego for the holidays, the holiday celebration there, caller number 5 is going to get those tickets.
Boom. Boom. Caller number 5 right now.
Boys, we got breaking Juan Soto news.
Oh, yeah.
What?
You're going to hear about it on the other side. That's next. Coming up next, we have some breaking Juan Soto news. Head out to the Good Feet store. Hey, this is Rich, and I did this myself. The Good Feet store has arch supports that they sell, and they're really important for my lower back pain that I used to experience, and now virtually has disappeared. So what these arch supports do, beyond the numerous benefits, it's really helped take away the pain. So pain relief was my chief concern, but maybe, I don't know, you're getting up there in age and you need better balance or performance in whatever industry you work in, or injury prevention. If you're a weekend warrior who gets after it, maybe you're doing some mud runs, who knows, recovery after a long workout, or a round of golf, or walking around a theme park with the kids or the grandkids. These Good Feet arch supports can alleviate pain in the feet, the knees, the hips, the back, even the neck. It can improve your posture to the point where if you're having neck pain on a daily basis, the Good Feet store may be the place you need to start your search. Arch supports that are precision fit to your personal needs, your lifestyle, your profession, and your footwear. They've been 30 years in practice, 30 plus years, 200 plus locations around the U.S. and overseas. If you need some more information or you want to book your appointment today, you need to go to goodfeet.com.
Yeah.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you, wrapping things up here on a Tuesday. Looking forward to tomorrow, right? Because it's that middle part of the week where you get to review what's happened in the weekend past, but then look forward to a full weekend slate in the NFL. Those Wednesdays, people call them the Island Day. We love it here.
Islands?
Talking fresh cut fries?
You can't bother me with a great time.
I mean, it's been a minute.
It's been too long, as a matter of fact.
We got a crappy Thursday
We're still
night
talking
football
to you,
game.
Islands.
Maybe we should hit them up. So we do have breaking Juan Soto news, and it's coming from a couple of the big name baseball reporters. But John Heyman puts out a tweet: Yankees are making a play for Juan Soto, who looks like he will be traded.
Ooh.
Okay, so the other
One
report,
rival exec saying, of course they'll move him. They can't afford to keep him.
Mhm.
Talking about the Padres.
Ken Rosenthal, what was the exact quote from the article you pulled up here, TD?
Let's see. Ken Rosenthal. Let me look for the quote. The question is not whether Soto will be traded. The question is which team will acquire him.
Okay, so listen, here is part of the math that we have to start mathing when we talk about losing Peter Seidler. This is going to be a very different looking payroll. And look, it's not everything to do with him passing away. It's not, because those announcements were made prior to him leaving us. But Peter Seidler, he was the generator of a lot of this, open the pocketbook strings and let's just spend and spend and spend and let's try to get a championship here. You may have more how should we put it? Not tight-fisted, but maybe just more
Fiscally responsible.
potentially.
Like that's what we loved about Peter so much, is that he was the one flipping the bird to the rules of conventional baseball. Well,
Right.
with Peter passing away, conventional baseball will most likely take back over. And when you look at the ins and outs of the San Diego Padres organization, they can't afford to be Peter Seidler spending. Now, Peter Seidler was able to do that because he's Peter effing Seidler.
Right, but it doesn't feel like it's Peter's vision to not do that.
Yeah.
So,
But Juan Soto, I'm just going to say, will not be a San Diego Padre in 2024. And it's because you need to replace starting pitching. And it's because Juan Soto would take up $30+ million of next year's budget.
So there's that side of it.
Mhm.
Here's the good news. In order for Juan Soto to go anywhere, the team that he goes to is going to get him for a full season at the arbitration number before having to pay him what he's going to be owed, which is going to be a giant figure, a huge contract. So he's cheap for a season, cheaper than he's worth. And that means that whoever wants him is going to have to send the Padres potentially future good pitching, potentially major league pitching. I mean, you could end up with a haul here for Juan Soto.
Okay, so let's do this right now. Rich, you were December 11th. I was December 5th. TD was December 8th for the next San Diego State Aztecs head coach football.
that's
Yeah.
correct.
Same thing. Juan Soto is a Padre until
Ooh,
winter
man.
meetings are coming up. I don't know the exact dates, but they're within the next handful of weeks.
I'm going to say Juan Soto is traded before Christmas. So I'm going to say Christmas Eve. So December 24th is my drop dead date. He's going to be gone before then.
I'll go end of the year. I'll go New Year's Eve, 12/31. Closest without going over.
I'm doing TD 12/27.
What?
Eat it, losers.
Wait, the day after Boxing Day?
That's the one. Thank you to Doc Chow. Thank you to Dave Velasquez, assistant head coach of the Aztecs men's basketball team. All of that up on the free iHeartRadio app. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, TD. Thank you, Roadies, Dogs, Hangers, Bangers.
All right, the herd's next.